Chapter 24:11. Just as Xia Ping was about to find a deserted island and wait for 3 days, boom. All of a sudden, he sensed intense battle fluctuations hundreds of light years away. The void was distorted. It seemed like sages were fighting on another deserted island. What's going on? There's still a battle going on here? Xia Ping's heart flickered. The world tree clone on his body immediately extended billions of thick roots of the world tree, covering an area of 700 light years in an instant. Soon, his divine sense silently enveloped the battlefield and saw what was happening there. In the center of the battlefield, 4 immortal sages appeared. 3 of them were sages of the dragon tribe. All of them emitted a terrifying dragon aura that distorted the void. The last one was a human sage, a female sage who had just entered the immortal realm. However, Xia Ping recognized this sage. It was Yi Mengyao, whom he had a one-night stand with. At this moment, Yi Mengyao was in a precarious situation. She spat out a mouthful of blood. Her aura was weakening rapidly. Clearly, she had been severely injured while being chased. Even though she had an immortal body, she was still no match for the 3 peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe. She would probably die in the hands of the dragon tribe sages soon. It's Yi Mengyao. Why is she here? Xia Ping's body flickered, and he immediately teleported over. Although he didn't know what was happening around Yi Mengyao, he couldn't just watch Yi Mengyao die in this place. Currently, on a deserted island, 3 peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe were confronting Yi Mengyao. Both sides were engaged in a fierce battle. Although Yi Mengyao was only an early immortal realm sage, her combat power was terrifying. She held a low-grade sacred longbow in her hand. Every time she shot, it was like an arrow of principle. Every time she shot, it could severely injure the immortal body of the dragon tribe. The 3 peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe were also fearful. They kept dodging. If they were hit, even with their powerful bodies, they would be severely injured. Human, hand over the dragonwood star nucleus. If you hand it over, we can spare your life. That's right. This dragonwood star is of great benefit to our dragon race. It can be considered a treasure of our dragon race. There's no way it would fall into the hands of you humans. You are alone right now, while there are 3 of us. Even if your combat prowess is not bad, you are definitely no match for us. Most importantly, we've already notified the elders in the clan. Very soon, near ancient realm sages, and even middle ancient realm sages will arrive. You won't be able to escape. The 3 saints of the dragon tribe at the peak of immortal realm shouted. They tried to attack Yi Mengyao's morale. If this human woman's confidence wavered in the slightest, they would not hesitate to use their killer moves to kill this human sage and snatch the dragonwood star core. It's the dragonwood star core? Xia Ping, who was teleporting over, couldn't help but be moved when he heard these words. This was an incredible peerless treasure. It was rumored that this was the essence of a planet. This peerless treasure would only be born when the planet was about to be extinguished. Ordinary sages would not be able to see it even once in a billion years. If it was put up for auction, it would be sold out. This was because this star core contained the complete laws of the universe. If one carried it with them and carefully comprehended it, it would be of great help in comprehending the laws of the yard. It would allow one to get closer to the origin of the universe. If they could devour the energy inside this star core, they could immediately save billions of years of cultivation. It was equivalent to devouring the essence of a living planet. One could imagine how precious this star core was. And this dragonwood star core was even more incredible. Perhaps a sage of the dragon tribe had once fallen on a planet. Its blood had seeped into every corner of the planet and fused with the star core. Then, after billions of years of metamorphosis, it finally became a peerless treasure. Therefore, this star core not only contained the pure essence of the wood element, but it also contained extremely abundant life energy. It also contained an enormous amount of origin energy of the dragon tribe sages. If this star core was taken away by the dragon tribe sages and devoured, they would probably be able to advance immediately. Even for the sages of the Middle Ages, it was a treasure that was extremely desired. Xia Ping did not find it strange that these sages of the dragon tribe would have evil intentions. It was because the dragonwood star core was too precious. It was a treasure that could not be bought even with money. Get lost. The dragonwood star core is a treasure I found on this deserted island. It is not a treasure of your dragon tribe. You are really shameless. You want to steal my treasure? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Yi Mengyao sneered. She had rich battle experience, and was also a peerless genius that only appeared once in a billion years. How could she be scared by the words of these sages of the dragon tribe? Even though she was in a critical situation, it did not mean that she did not have a way to escape. Moreover, it would not be easy for these three peak immortal realm sages to kill her. However, although she did not want to admit it, her current situation was indeed very dangerous. In order to escape, she had been burning her qi and blood. She had already started to damage the essence of her soul. If she continued, she might damage her foundation. At that time, even if she could escape, if her foundation was damaged, she would never be able to reach the near ancient realm for the rest of her life. She felt that she was really out of luck. Originally, she thought that she had found a relic of an almighty expert on this deserted island, and discovered the existence of the dragonwood star core. Her luck had turned for the better. However, she had never thought that she would meet these sages of the dragon tribe. Originally, these sages of the dragon tribe would not easily appear in the mystic area. She did not know why they had appeared. She had even encountered such enemies. She did not know whether she was lucky or unlucky. However, no matter what, she would not hand over the dragonwood star core. It was related to her own fate. Most importantly, even if she handed over the dragonwood star core, these sages of the dragon tribe would not let her go. She could feel the evil and murderous intent deep in the hearts of these evil dragons. Stupid human stubborn. Since you want to die, we will fulfill your wish. We must have the dragonwood star core. It is not something that a small human like you can touch. The three peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe sneered. They immediately took action, splitting into three directions, and attacking Yi Mengyao. They wanted to kill this damned human sage instantly, and snatch the dragonwood star core. Otherwise, when their parents and seniors came, they would not have a share. Damn it! Yi Mengyao's face was solemn. She could feel that these three immortal sages of the dragon tribe were not joking. If she could not hold on, she might really die. Boom, however, at this moment, the void twisted, and an invisible illusory power enveloped her. Chapter 24:12. Buzz. In an instant, a powerful soul power shrouded the void, seeping into every corner of this area. The three saints at the peak of immortal realm couldn't resist at all. In an instant, they fell into an illusion, as if they were dragged into an illusory world. In this illusory world, they were still madly fighting against Yi Mengyao, immersed in the excitement of getting the dragonwood star core. In reality, they were also dumbstruck. Their eyes were dull, and they couldn't move. What's going on? Yi Mengyao was dumbfounded. She had no idea what was going on. Just now, the three saints at the peak of immortal realm surrounded her with a murderous look. She was already prepared to fight to the death with this group of dragon race sages, but she did not expect that the three dragon race sages would suddenly be stunned, as if they were completely controlled by someone. Whoosh! The void twisted, and a figure appeared in front of Yi Mengyao. Xiaoping, why are you here? Yi Mengyao's pupil shrank when she saw this figure. How could she not know this person who suddenly appeared in front of her? Even if he turned into ashes, she would still recognize him. After all, the two of them had done something indescribable. One night of wet dreams, and he took away her first time. She didn't know how many times this despicable man had appeared in her dreams. However, she never thought that she would meet him in this nameless sea in the mystic area. It's just a coincidence. Xiaoping smiled. I didn't expect to meet you in this nameless sea. Moreover, I happened to see you being chased by a few saints of the dragon clan. If I didn't help you, I'm afraid you would be dead by now. Haha, you mean you helped me? What a joke. Even without you, those useless saints of the dragon clan couldn't have killed me. Hearing these words, Yi Mengyao was filled with anger. She clenched her teeth. This hateful man actually wanted to treat her as his savior. He was really hateful. However, when she saw the three saints at the peak of immortal realm, she was shocked. After all, They were saints at the peak of a mortal realm. They were extremely powerful. However, this man had just appeared and instantly subdued the 3 undying saints. His strength was so strong that it made one's hair stand on end. It was unbelievable. Even though she had more or less heard of Xia Ping's reputation in the universe, she didn't expect his strength to have improved to such a level. It seemed like he could even casually kill an immortal saint. This kind of strength was probably far beyond his own. Still being stubborn, it's the nature of women to say one thing and mean another. Hearing this, Xia Ping shook his head. Don't worry. I'm not trying to save you. I just want to save the child in your stomach. I don't want to kill 2 people at once. Bullshit. Who has a child in their stomach? A dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. Yi Mingyao was so angry that her face turned red. Her beautiful eyes stared at Xia Ping. She simply wanted to eat this guy up. You don't have a baby in your belly? It seems that I guessed wrong. After one night, I almost thought that I had become a cheap father. Xia Ping touched his chin and looked at Yi Mingyao. Damn scum. Who would let you become a cheap father? Stop dreaming. Yi Mingyao was so angry that she almost died. Looking at this bastard's worried face, just how many women had he offended? Not only did he show mercy everywhere, but he also left his seed everywhere. Who knew how many illegitimate children this bastard had outside? There might even be some pregnant women looking for him to settle the score and ask for compensation. Forget it. It's best that you didn't make me a father. Let's talk after I capture these 3 saints of the dragon race. Xia Ping waved his hand and wanted to capture the 3 saints of the dragon race. He didn't want to kill them for now. After all, they might be from the dragon world and might know a lot of information about the dragon world. Under torture, he would be able to understand more about the dragon world. This would be of great benefit to him when he entered the dragon world. Stop, you scoundrel. You dare to capture the saints of my dragon race. You are courting death. Release the saints immediately. At this moment, a dragon's roar came from the void in the distance. It was earth-shattering. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye appeared in a radius of billions of kilometers. Space-time trembled. Oh no, the reinforcements of the dragon race are here. Hearing the terrifying might of the law contained in the voice, Yi Mingyao's expression changed. She could sense that the newcomers were much more powerful than the 3 immortal saints. They had at least reached the near ancient realm, or even the middle ancient realm. Their strength was unfathomable. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Before she could think of anything, a ripple appeared in the void in the distance. Immediately, 5 saints of the dragon race walked out from the depths of the void. 3 of them had reached the middle ancient realm, while the other 2 were near ancient realm pinnacle dragon race saints. The 5 of them emitted a terrifying draconic aura. The radius of hundreds of light years was enveloped by the draconic aura. Even low-level life forms couldn't maintain a clear mind under such pressure. This was the aura of a superior being. It's over. It's all over now. Yi Mingyao's heart immediately sank. To be honest, she had a trump card that could allow her to escape from the immortal saints. However, she didn't have the confidence to escape from the Middle Ancient Realm saints. That was because the Middle Ancient Realm saints had comprehended the law of time. Before she could even make a move, the time within a radius of billions of kilometers would stop with a single thought. No matter how much power she had, no matter how many trump cards she had, she probably wouldn't be able to use them in front of such existences. She wouldn't even have the chance to use them. The difference between the immortal realm and the Middle Ancient Realm was just too great. I received news that a human saint obtained the Dragonwood Star Core. That's why I rushed over. I thought that the Dragonwood Star Core had long been taken by the juniors of my race. Even that human saint might have been killed. A cold glint flashed in the eyes of one of the Middle Ancient Realm saints. I didn't expect an expert like you to appear in the human race. You can actually control the juniors of my race in an instant. You are indeed very capable. His gaze landed on Xia Ping. This was because the greatest threat to the 2 human race sages was undoubtedly this man. It could sense that this kid's cultivation had already reached the near ancient realm middle stage, and his strength was indeed much stronger than that of its 3 juniors. Human, let's cut the crap. Immediately release the 3 juniors of our race. At the same time, hand over the Dragonwood Star Core. Otherwise, you won't be able to escape death today. Don't think that you can escape from us just because you comprehended the law of space. The power of our dragon race's spacetime domain isn't something you can imagine. Our battle prowess far surpasses that of human saints of the same level. The few saints of the dragon race shouted angrily. Their killing intent surged, and their words contained a great threat. Chapter 24:13. Boom! A violent dragon aura and murderous aura immediately gushed out from the sages of the dragon clan, triggering a terrifying killing intent in the world. The wind and clouds changed, and the void within a radius of billions of kilometers trembled. From this, one could see how powerful the sages of the dragon clan were. Their strength far surpassed that of sages of the same level. Yi Mingyao was just an immortal sage. How could she withstand such a terrifying killing intent? She felt as if she was carrying several worlds on her back. She couldn't even breathe. It was her first time facing such a terrifying killing intent. Dong. However, at this moment, Xiaoping suddenly stood in front of Yi Mingyao. The space domain on his body spread out, as if he had cast a world barrier, easily blocking the aura and killing intent. He casually grabbed the 3 peak immortal sages of the dragon clan, who had fallen into the illusion, and put them into the internal space of his pearl of mountains and rivers. This, Yi Mingyao's beautiful eyes widened. She could completely feel the power of the space domain on Xiaoping's body. It could actually easily block the killing intent and aura of the saints of the Middle Ages and eliminate them. She could sense that Xiaoping's strength was no longer the same as before. He had already advanced to the near-ancient realm and comprehended the law of space. His strength was 1 level higher than hers. However, she was still worried. After all, there were 3 saints of the Middle Ages who had comprehended the law of time in front of her. How could he withstand such power? Before Yi Mingyao could say anything, Xiaoping's actions were immediately seen by the 5 sages of the dragon clan. Their pupils shrank, and they emitted terrifying anger. That was because such an action was too unscrupulous, and it was too disrespectful. Such an action had undoubtedly aroused the anger of the 5 dragon race sages. Human, how dare you capture the sages of the dragon clan in front of us? You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. You're courting death. A saint of the dragon clan, who had reached the middle ancient realm, roared furiously. They felt that they had given this human sage enough face. However, this human sage was so arrogant that he ignored all their warnings. He even captured 3 saints of the immortal dragon clan in front of them. This was simply a slap to their faces. Xiao. As soon as he finished speaking, the ancient middle realm saint of the dragon clan immediately made his move. A huge dragon claw reached out, seemingly distorting time and space. The void that spanned hundreds of millions of miles was under the control of this dragon claw. At this moment, it was as if time and space had come to a complete stop. Everything in the world was unable to move, and only that dragon claw could smash over with boundless killing intent. Yi Mingyao could feel all the cells in her body trembling. It was as if she was hit by this claw, even if she had an immortal body, she would still die and her soul would be destroyed. Spatial domain, absolute barrier. However, Xiaoping didn't move. Instead, he activated his space domain. Instantly, with his body as the center, a spatial barrier that resembled the patterns of an ancient tortoise shell burst forth, sweeping through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Vaguely, it was as if a world blessed by the gods had enveloped every corner of his body, and the spatial barrier was covered in dense and complex patterns of the laws of space. Dong! In an instant, the dragon claw slammed down, bombarding the spatial barrier on Xiaoping's body. The 2 forces collided in a frenzy, creating an intense impact. The surrounding void distorted, creating a powerful spatial storm. The surrounding islands were destroyed by this force, and countless rocks were instantly shattered into pieces. Meanwhile, Xiaoping and Yi Mingyao, who was behind him, were still unharmed. It was as if this power that could shatter time and space could not penetrate within 1 step of the spatial barrier. Impossible! This is a claw that contains the laws of space and time. It can distort time and space. And it can even kill a near-ancient realm saint from tens of millions of dimensions away. Yet you can withstand it. What kind of space domain is this? How can it be so powerful? The ancient dragon clan saint who attacked was shocked. To be honest, it had lived for countless eras. Although it had spent most of its time in the dragon world, it was considered to have seen many geniuses from all the major races. However, it had never seen such a terrifying human saint. He had only reached the near-ancient realm, but the laws of space he had condensed were able to withstand its punch that contained the laws of space and time. Such a thing was simply too absurd and unimaginable. If it had not experienced it for itself and seen it with its own eyes, it would have thought that it was a joke. It was not the only one who was shocked. The other 4 dragon clan saints were also shocked. Their minds trembled and their pupils contracted. They did not expect the human saint to be so powerful. This is my chance. Secret soul technique. Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly. Xiaoping's current soul power was so powerful, and his perception of the soul was so sharp, that even the ancient saints might not be able to compare to him. He immediately sensed that the 5 dragon clan saints' minds were shaken, and revealed a flaw. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him to use his illusion to control them. Buzz, in an instant, with his body as the center, waves of ethereal soul fluctuations spread out, covering a radius of 700 light-years in an instant. It was so silent that even the laws of space and time could not withstand it. What? Damn it, this is the secret soul technique in illusion. Bastard damn human, how dare you attack us? Use the secret soul technique of the dragon clan, and stop him immediately. The 5 dragon clan saints also sensed this silent secret soul technique. They were shocked and angry at once. They did not expect this human to be so crazy that he dared to attack all 5 of them at the same time. They roared and tried to resist, but it was too late. This Zhuangzhou dream of butterfly technique was silent and immediately penetrated the flaw in their minds. It turned into ethereal soul butterflies and instantly sank into the depths of their souls. Boom! In an instant, the 5 dragon clan saints were stunned and fell into the world of Zhuangzhou dream of butterfly technique. They were surrounded by blue butterflies, and their eyes were completely dull. Obviously, they did not have any strength to resist. Haha, it worked. As expected of the Zhuangzhou dream of butterfly technique, even the saints of the Middle Ages could not resist it. If we are careful, maybe even the ancient saints will fall for it. Xiaoping laughed loudly, and his heart was filled with joy. It was not in vain that he had painstakingly cultivated this secret soul technique. It was indeed strange and powerful. If he had used other magical powers to fight against these saints of the Middle Ages, he was afraid that it would not end in a short time. However, it was different when he used Zhuangzhou dream of butterfly technique. As long as the other party had a moment of carelessness, they would be controlled by him and fall into an illusion, unable to extricate themselves and trapped in it forever. Let's go. Xiaoping grabbed the 5 dragon clan saints and imprisoned them in the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River. At the same time, he also grabbed Yi Mengyao and quickly left this place to hide on other islands. After all, this place was near the dragon world, and there might be other dragon clan saints coming. Chapter 24:14. In the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River. At this moment, Xiaoping was far away from the place where the battle took place. He came to a nameless island in the distance, and hid there temporarily. Then, he and Yi Mengyao hid in the space of the Pearl of Mountain and River. He believed that with the concealment ability of the Pearl of Mountain and River, even if the sages of the dragon tribe came nearby, they would not be able to detect his whereabouts, nor would they know that the sages of the dragon tribe had disappeared. But how should I deal with these sages of the dragon tribe? Xiaoping touched his chin. In addition to the 3 sages of the peak immortal realm, there were also 3 middle ancient realm, and 2 near ancient realm dragon tribe sages who arrived later. He did not want to kill these sages of the dragon tribe for the time being, because he still needed to rely on them to obtain information about the dragon realm, and various types of information. This was related to his safety after entering the dragon realm. No matter how cautious he was, it was the right thing to do. However, now that these 8 sages of the dragon tribe had fallen into an illusion, he could not control them for too long. If he were to undo the illusion, these 8 sages of the dragon tribe would definitely attack him. It seems that I have to find a way to completely seal their power and make them lose all their power. Then, they will not be able to cause any trouble. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately asked the system, "System, do you have any spells that can seal the power of these sages of the dragon tribe, so that they have no power and can't struggle?" To answer the host, there are a total of 3,673 methods, but the most suitable for the host is the 6-path sealing technique. The system replied, "This is a supreme sealing technique. It uses the 6-path laws as the foundation to form a sealing formation. At its peak, even gods and demons can be sealed into mortals and reduced to animals. However, it also has two shortcomings. One is that it needs the other party to be unable to resist in order to be sealed successfully. The second is that it cannot seal experts 2 levels higher than itself." 6-path sealing technique? Not bad. This secret technique is indeed not bad. Hearing these words, Xiaoping's eyes suddenly lit up. As expected of the system, it immediately found a powerful sealing secret technique that could solve the current problem. Although it could only seal people who could not resist, with his sole secret technique, Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly, he could instantly make the enemy fall into a dream, making them unable to resist. If these two secret techniques were used together, they would be able to seal all the sages in this world. As for the second flaw, it was even less of a flaw. It was just a flaw that appeared because his cultivation was not high enough. If he was strong enough, this secret technique would be even more powerful. This secret skill is not bad. I'll exchange for it. Xiaoping immediately said, "Yes, host. This secret technique requires 50 hatred crystals, which have been deducted." The system said, "Boom." As soon as he finished speaking, Xiaoping immediately sensed a massive information flow gushing out from the depths of his sea of consciousness. Densely packed images and all sorts of law vein patterns emerged. Vaguely, he sensed a 6-pointed star symbol appearing in the depths of his sea of consciousness. It was as if the 6 corners represented the 6 realms' power, which was unfathomable. I see. This is the 6-Da sealing technique. After receiving the system's enlightenment, Xiaoping immediately mastered this supreme sealing secret technique, the 6-path sealing technique. This saved him countless years of effort in cultivating the secret technique. He was very excited. This was indeed an extremely powerful sealing secret technique. Once hit by the 6-path sealing technique, no matter how strong one's cultivation was, they would be sealed into a mortal state. Moreover, without his permission, no sage would be able to touch such a seal, because this sealing secret technique had already penetrated the other party's soul. If it was forcibly removed, it would definitely cause the other party's soul to collapse. "What are you doing?" Yi Mengyao, who was next to him, looked at Xiaoping curiously. She saw that Xiaoping seemed to be forming a seal with his hands, and a hexagonal formation appeared in the void. It seemed to emit an unfathomable aura, as if it was the source power from the depths of hell. Vaguely, a trace of palpitation welled up in the depths of her heart. It seemed that this hexagonal formation represented the essence of the law of the universe, pointing directly to the essence of the great Tao. "I'm using a sealing technique to completely seal the cultivation of these 8 dragon sages, and reduce them to mortals. This way, it'll be easier to torture them." Xiaoping replied while casting the 6-path sealing technique. Bang bang bang. In the blink of an eye, one spell after another was cast, and suddenly, densely packed 6 runes instantly sank into the bodies of these 8 dragon sages, seeping into the depths of their souls. Soon, a mysterious and complicated 6 paths formation appeared in their bodies, and dense chains of laws gushed out, completely sealing their bodies in an instant. "What?" Yi Mengyao was shocked. She could not believe her eyes, because she clearly sensed that after these 8 extremely powerful dragon sages were covered and sealed by this formation, their aura rapidly weakened, and finally degenerated to the state of mortals, unable to use any magic power in the depths of their bodies. In this way, they really degenerated to the state of mortals. "Why did you seal their cultivation?" Although Yi Mengyao was a little surprised that Xiaoping knew such a supreme sealing technique, she also knew that the universe was very big, and there were all kinds of secret techniques emerging one after another. It was not strange at all for such a sealing secret technique to appear. She was just curious as to why Xia Ping would waste so much effort to seal these dragon sages. Now that these dragon sages were already under Xia Ping's control, if the other party posed a threat, he could just kill them on the spot. Why waste so much effort? Because I want to find out information about the dragon realm from their mouths. Xia Ping replied. You want to use them to enter the dragon realm? Yi Mengyao immediately understood what Xia Ping was thinking. She shook her head and said, That's impossible, stop dreaming. There were people who once tried to capture some giant dragons to find the specific location of the dragon realm, but it was of no use at all. If anyone dared to enter the dragon realm, they would immediately be found out by the old antiques of the dragon clan. At that time, they would be instantly killed by the old antiques of the dragon clan. Anyone who trespassed into the dragon realm would die. Do you think that no one knows the specific location of the dragon realm after so many years? In fact, that's not the case. It's just that the dragon realm does not allow any life forms of other races to enter, so it's useless to know. She came from a super race and joined the All Saints Palace, so she naturally knew a lot of top secret information. I already know the specific location of the dragon realm, and I also have my own way to sneak in. Now I just want to find them to understand the specific situation of the dragon realm, so that I don't know anything after entering. Xia Ping smiled slightly. You found a way to sneak into the dragon realm? Hearing this, Yi Mengyao could not help but be shocked, looking at Xia Ping in disbelief. Chapter 24:15. In fact, Yi Mengyao did not doubt Xia Ping's words because this guy was a cunning and shameless liar. If he really found a way to sneak into the dragon realm without being found out by the old antiques of the dragon realm, it would not be incomprehensible. However, if this was true, then this guy was really incredible, because there were many precious treasures in the dragon realm that could not be found in the outside world. Every time the treasures of the dragon realm appeared in the outside world, countless sages would fight over them. Therefore, if one could master a way to sneak into the dragon realm, it would be equivalent to finding an amazing way to make money. This was like the ancient Silk Road. If one could master this way, it would be easy to become a top tycoon in the universe. Bang! After completely sealing the 8 dragon sages, Xia Ping snapped his fingers and instantly let them out of the illusion. Immediately, they woke up one by one. What's going on? Where is this place? Didn't I just fight that damn human sage for 300 rounds and was about to kill him? Why am I here? The group of dragon sages were a little confused because in their minds, they should still be in the middle of a fierce battle with Xia Ping. Moreover, they had the upper hand and were about to force the damn human sage into a desperate situation. However, just as they were about to succeed, space-time suddenly changed, and they suddenly appeared in a strange place. This was really unusual. Damn it, no, we fell into this bastard's illusion and fell into an illusion. One of the ancient middle-stage dragon tribe saints shouted. It immediately came to its senses. It was clear that it had fallen into an illusion just now. He immediately saw Xia Ping standing in front of him with a faint smile on his face, and he could not help but be shocked. He was a sage from the Middle Ages who had comprehended the law of time, yet he was able to fall into an illusion without making a sound. Just how terrifying was that soul illusion just now? Even a sage from the Middle Ages couldn't resist it. Illusion? No way, I'm an ancient sage. How could I fall into that human's illusion without a sound? You're right, this is impossible. How could such a ridiculous thing happen? I didn't feel anything at all just now. Damn it, my power, where's my power? Why has it all disappeared? I'm even weaker than a mortal now. What's going on? Are we still in an illusion? If that's not the case, why don't we have the slightest bit of power? We can't mobilize any power of laws at all. The eyes of the 8 dragon sages revealed extremely shocked expressions. It was simply unbelievable because they realized that they had completely lost their power. This was even more shocking than when they realized that they had fallen into an illusion. Falling for an illusion might be a moment of carelessness, but if one lost their power, they would lose everything. In the dragon clan, they would become a true cripple. This was something they could not accept. All of the sages of the dragon race were struggling with all their might, trying to activate the power of the bloodline within their bodies. However, it was to no avail. They could not activate any power at all. It was as though they had never existed in the first place. Damned human, what have you done to us? What happened to our bloodline power? Where did it go? The 8 dragon saints were both shocked and furious. Stop struggling. You've been reduced to mortals after being hit by my 6th Dao seal. Without my permission, you'll be like this for the rest of your lives. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. If you know what's good for you, listen to my orders obediently, and tell me everything you know about the dragon realm. Maybe you'll have a chance to restore your power. You want to know about the dragon realm? What exactly do you want? An ancient dragon sage stared at Xiaoping. He felt that this human was extremely strange, and had ill intentions. Such a person must be a huge threat to the dragon realm. You don't need to know that. You just need to tell me what you know, Xiaoping said indifferently. Stupid human. You want us to betray the dragon clan? Dream on. That's right. Even if we encounter any torture, we will not reveal any information about the dragon realm. You want to hurt the dragon clan? Unless you want to step over our corpses. Don't even think about getting a single piece of information from us. The 8 dragon sages sneered. They were very stubborn. They would not betray the dragon clan even if they died. They're so stubborn? Xiaoping was a bit surprised. He didn't expect these dragons to rather die than submit. Xiaoping, don't ask. They won't say anything even if you ask. Yi Mingyao said. Rumor has it that all the dragons of the dragon clan have signed a mysterious ancestral dragon contract with the dragon realm. No dragon can reveal any information to the outside world. If anyone spits out half a word, they will be killed by the power of the contract. Even if they go to the end of the universe, they won't be able to escape the power of the law of cause and effect. That's why every time we capture a dragon, we can't get even half a word from them. Even if some dragons can't withstand the torture and spit out half a word, they will be killed by the power of the contract. There's such a thing. No wonder all of you look like you'd rather die than submit. So you'll die if you say anything. I thought you dragons weren't afraid of death. Xiaoping touched his chin. Damn human. Why are you looking at us with such disdain? Even without the existence of this contract, we would never reveal any information about the dragon realm. Seeing Xiaoping's eyes, the 8 dragon sages seemed to have been greatly insulted. They were filled with grief and indignation. Human, since you know about the contract, you should know that you won't be able to get any information from us. Why don't you just let us go? We're of no value to you. One of the dragon clan's ancient saints suggested. And if you continue to imprison us, sooner or later our patriarch will know that we're imprisoned and sealed. At that time, I'm afraid you'll be hunted down by the entire dragon clan. Even the human clan won't be able to protect you. There was a hint of threat and intimidation in his tone. You don't need to worry about that. But since you can't say anything, it doesn't matter. I have other ways to get what I want to know from you. Xiaoping smiled. What? The 8 saints of the dragon clan were shocked. What other tricks does this strange human have up his sleeves? With a swoosh, Xiaoping immediately took out a supreme treasure, the Book of Cause and Effect. Chapter 24:16. What? What are you trying to do? The 8 dragon saints were terrified. They instinctively sensed that something was wrong, because this strange book seemed to be emitting an extremely ominous aura, causing them to feel palpitations in the depths of their hearts. Yi Mingyao also blinked her eyes. She could also see that this was an extremely powerful magic treasure. It was different from ordinary saint artifacts. It seemed to contain a mysterious power. You'll know soon enough. Xiaoping smiled. He reached out with his hand, and instantly slapped the bodies of the 8 dragon sages. In an instant, strands of their souls were extracted from their bodies. Boom! In the next second, the pages of the Book of Karma flipped and instantly devoured the 8 strands of soul energy. He now recalled the various magical powers of the Book of Karma. Ability 1, Omniscient Everything. As long as a strand of the soul of a living being was devoured by the Book of Karma, it would be able to know all the information and memories of this living being. There was a saying in hell. Once one was in the Book of Life and Death, then one's life and death would be controlled by oneself. Once the soul was devoured by the Book of Karma, all the information would be recorded in the Book of Karma. The power of karma would be generated between the two parties. Life and death would be controlled by the Book of Karma, even if one already had an immortal body. As long as one gently swiped on the Book of Karma, no matter how powerful the living being was, they would die of old age. Unless they were not recorded in the Book of Karma, or their names were removed from the Book of Karma, only then could they truly transcend and not be controlled by the Book of Karma. Walala, immediately, the Book of Karma kept flipping. The memories from the 8 dragon saints instantly poured into the Book of Karma. A huge amount of information was recorded in an instant. What happened? The 8 dragon saints were terrified to the extreme. They sensed a mysterious and powerful power that seemed to have penetrated every corner of their souls. All the memories and secrets in the depths of their sea of consciousness, even if they had forgotten them, were dug out by this power and recorded in the Book of Karma. The 8 dragon saints tried to stop it, but there was no way at all. They were now mortals, and their bodies had no power at all. So that's how it is. This is the information about the dragon realm. Xiaoping suddenly understood. From the Book of Karma, he had successfully obtained the memories of the 8 dragon saints. He could be considered to have a preliminary understanding of the dragon realm. The dragon realm was an extremely large world, equivalent to a small universe. Its territory was simply boundless, reaching at least tens of trillions of light years. There were also a lot of giant dragons living in the dragon realm. Although their numbers couldn't be compared to the human race, they weren't a race with a small population either. Even though there were so many dragons in the dragon realm, they were divided into 5 major categories: elemental dragons, metal dragons, special dragons, primordial dragons, and pseudo-dragons. The so-called elemental dragon was a giant dragon that could control all kinds of natural elements, such as water dragons, fire dragons, earth dragons, gold dragons, wood dragons, poison dragons, ice dragons, lava dragons, and so on. Their bodies gathered and dispersed from their hearts, completely condensed from energy. Metal dragons referred to bronze dragons, gold dragons, diamond dragons, silver dragons, alloy dragons, and so on. Their bodies were extremely powerful and indestructible. They often appear in places where all kinds of mineral veins are formed. As for special dragons, they were dragons with all kinds of special abilities, such as fate dragons that could control the power of fate, time dragons that could control the power of time, spatial dragons that could control the power of space, dark dragons that could control the power of darkness, sky dragons that could control the power of the sky, earth dragons that could control the power of the earth, and so on. Primordial dragons were terrifying dragons that had survived since the primordial era. They had a rich ancestral dragon bloodline and were the nobility of many giant dragons. They were above all other giant dragons. Primordial dragons were so rare that they were almost extinct. They were as precious as pandas. Basically, there weren't many giant dragons in the dragon realm that had seen primordial dragons. As for pseudo-dragons, there was no need to mention them. They were dragons with a relatively thin bloodline. Strictly speaking, they weren't members of the dragon race. They were just a species born from the erosion of the primordial dragon bloodline. However, pseudo-dragons were very numerous, far more than giant dragons. They were considered the lowest creatures in the dragon realm, and they played the role of servants to the giant dragons. Of course, there were some pseudo-dragons with amazing talent. After training, they could control power no less than that of other giant dragons. However, such pseudo-dragons were very rare, and they couldn't cause much trouble. I didn't expect there to be so many types of giant dragons. Xiaoping felt that he had learned something new. It was precisely because there were so many types of giant dragons, which led to them fighting each other for the various resources in the dragon realm. As a result, many countries were divided. For example, the Golden Nation established by the Gold Dragon, the Water China established by the Water Dragon, the Fire Dragon Cave Abode established by the Fire Dragon, the Sky Dragon City established by the Sky Dragon, and so on. These giant dragon countries often had wars. However, even though there were so many giant dragon countries, there was still a huge force that reigned over countless countries. It was the supreme organization that ruled the entire dragon realm, the Dragon God Shrine. All giant dragons that had advanced to the Sage Realm would join the Dragon God Shrine and be responsible for managing the affairs of the entire Dragon Realm. Once something big happened in the Dragon Realm, or if there was an invasion, or if there was a need to fight against other races, the Dragon God Shrine would personally come forward to mobilize and make decisions. Interesting. The strongest organization in the Dragon Realm, the Dragon God Shrine? It's a super organization that worships the ancestral dragon. It's probably similar to the human clan's All Saints Temple and the demon clan's Demon Saint Temple. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He had a preliminary understanding of the Dragon Realm. Bastard, what did you do to us? How can you peek into our memories without triggering the ancestral dragon contract? The 8 dragon sages were horrified. They did not know what Xiaoping had done to them. They knew how powerful the ancestral dragon contract was. Even if there were sages who were proficient in soul secret techniques and tried to peek into their memories through their souls, they would be immediately discovered and stopped by the ancestral dragon contract. In serious cases, they would even be attacked by the supreme power of karma of the ancestral dragon contract, resulting in karma retribution. Even an invincible sage might not be able to resist it. However, this strange and mysterious human had taken out a strange book that could bypass the ancestral dragon contract and directly peek into their soul memories. This was simply unbelievable. This has nothing to do with you. Anyway, I've already learned what I want to know from your soul memories. Your only role now is to do manual labor. Obediently stay in this place and be slaves. Xiaoping waved his hand and immediately called the green bull over. He took the 8 dragon sages who were going crazy and made them work in the space of the Mountain River Pearl. Anyway, the Mountain River Pearl was opening up elixir fields everywhere, so he needed these giant dragons to do manual labor. Chapter 24:17. Seeing this, Yi Mingyao's expression became extremely strange. She knew how terrifying these 8 dragon sages were. Among them, 3 were medieval sages, 2 were near ancient sages, and the remaining 3 were sages at the peak of the immortal realm. Such a terrifying sage realm dragon was actually captured by this bastard. And not only did he not cherish it, he even dragged it down to this place to work as a laborer, plowing the fields. If this matter were to spread out, who knew how many people would be scared to death? This was simply a waste of talent. Making a dignified dragon sage work as a laborer? What kind of joke was this? I heard that you obtained a dragon with star core? After sending off the few dragon sages who were going crazy, Xiaoping turned around and looked at Yi Mingyao. That's right. By chance, I obtained a dragon with star core in a certain relic. If you need it, I can give it to you. Although Yi Mingyao didn't want to part with the dragon with star core, and felt that it was her opportunity. If it wasn't for this bastard, she wouldn't have been able to keep her life, let alone obtain the dragon with star core. Therefore, she felt that it was not a pity to give it to Xiaoping. I do need this dragon with star core. It is very important to me, Xiaoping said. However, I am not the kind of person who would take things by force. I have a treasure that can be compared to the dragon with star core. Perhaps I can exchange it with you. A treasure that can be compared to the dragon with star core? Hearing this, Yi Mingyao was indeed very surprised. There were actually not many treasures that could be compared to the dragon with star core in this universe. That's right. With a wave of his hand, Xiaoping took out an ageless fruit and a spatial fruit. This is an ageless fruit. After consuming it, even a lightning tribulation realm cultivator will be able to swiftly advance to the sempiternal realm, increasing their chances of transcending their lightning tribulation by 50%. Even if an immortal realm sage takes it, it will be greatly beneficial. It can save you hundreds of millions of years of time and effort in condensing magic power, allowing you to quickly advance to the peak of the immortal realm. And this is a space fruit. It contains a huge fragment of the origin source law of space. After eating it, you can quickly comprehend the origin source law of space and increase the chance of advancing to the immortal realm by 50%. What? Hearing this, Yi Mengyao couldn't help but be shocked. She looked at the two exotic fruits in Xia Ping's hands in disbelief. If what this bastard said was true, then these two exotic fruits were indeed very valuable. They could be compared to the dragonwood star nucleus, or even more valuable to some extent. After all, even if she obtained the dragonwood star core and devoured it, she might not be able to reach the near ancient realm. But after consuming this space fruit, there was actually a 50% chance of leveling up. Not only that, he could also take the opportunity to comprehend various laws of space. Just what sort of opportunity was this? Just what sort of treasure was this? If news of this heavenly fruit were to spread, countless sages would go crazy. To be honest, Yi Mengyao was indeed tempted. She looked at Xia Ping and said, "This heaven and earth exotic fruit is indeed enough. But why don't you use such a precious heaven and earth exotic fruit yourself?" At this moment, she also somewhat understood why Xia Ping's advancement speed was so fast. A large part of it was due to the effects of these heaven and earth exotic fruits. Otherwise, how could he improve so quickly? "Don't worry. I have plenty of these exotic fruits. It's nothing," Xia Ping said carelessly, indicating that he had a pile of such heaven and earth exotic fruits on him. Because he had the help of the world tree, every time he killed a sage, he could refine a corresponding heaven and earth exotic fruit. By devouring the sage's source energy, he could strengthen himself. To the outside world, such heaven and earth exotic fruits were naturally very precious and rare. But to him, they were indeed common things on the street. Hearing this, Yi Mengyao's mouth twitched. She gritted her teeth. No wonder this bastard was so generous. It turned out that these things were all common things on him. This was like exchanging carrots for gold. But even so, she still wanted to trade. After all, although these heaven and earth exotic fruits were common things to this kid, to the outside world, they were indeed treasures that could be compared to the dragonwood star core. This is the dragonwood star core. Now it belongs to you. Yi Mengyao immediately took out a fist-sized azure stone from her space ring. The azure stone was densely packed with rule patterns. Vaguely, there seemed to be a powerful dragon hiding in the deepest part of the stone, emitting terrifying dragon might and twisting the space. At the same time, the stone also contained an extremely large amount of star energy. Although the dragonwood star core was only the size of a fist, if the power inside the dragonwood star core were to be completely detonated, even a star region might be destroyed. That would be no less than the explosion of a super sun. Okay, these two fruits belong to you too. Xia Ping casually tossed the immortal fruit and the space fruit to Yi Mengyao. "I'm going to train in seclusion." After receiving the two fruits, Yi Mengyao immediately planned to train in seclusion. She needed to recover from her injuries as soon as possible, and eating the immortal fruit was just right for that. At the same time, she might even be able to use the immortal fruit to advance to a higher level, which would allow her to improve by leaps and bounds. Whoosh! At that moment, Xia Ping's body flashed, and he immediately appeared in front of Dumbo Gaia. "Brother, what's this?" At that moment Dumbo, who was still in a deep sleep, seemed to have sensed the enormous energy of the dragonwood star core, and woke up immediately. She stared at the azure dragonwood star core in Xia Ping's hand with a longing look. "This is the dragonwood star core, a rare treasure of the universe. It should be of great benefit to your growth." Xia Ping smiled. He had obtained the dragonwood star core to give to Dumbo to help her grow. After all, Dumbo was Gaia. As long as she had enough resources, she could grow quickly. He had also learned a lot about Gaia through the All Saints Palace. It was said that to speed up Gaia's growth, all she needed was to devour all kinds of star cores. The more energy, the better. Once she devoured enough star cores, Gaia would be able to skip the Near Ancient Realm, Middle Ancient Realm, Immemorial Ancient Realm, and directly advance to the Archean Ancient Realm. Her body would then form a world that contained the complete laws of the universe. This was a powerful talent of the Gaia clan. Thank you, brother. Little Dumbo was very excited. She took it and swallowed the dragonwood star nucleus in one gulp. It felt like she was eating a steamed bun. Boom! In an instant, the enormous energy of the star core surged into Dumbo's body, causing the Gaia space in Dumbo's body to undergo earth-shaking changes. Xiaoping, who had signed a contract with Gaia, seemed to have received the same benefits. The enormous energy of the star core surged into his body like a tide. Chapter 24:18. This energy is truly enormous. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He could feel the extremely pure astral energy coming from Dumbo Gaia's body. This was only a portion of the dragonwood star core's energy. However, even if it was just a small portion of the energy, it was enough to save him millions of years of effort in condensing magic power. It was no wonder that when this dragonwood star nucleus appeared, even the saints of the Middle Ages wanted to snatch it. This was indeed an extremely precious treasure that everyone coveted. He could feel his magic power rising steadily, as though he was about to ascend to the pinnacle of the near ancient intermediate stage. At the same time, the golden crow of hell cells in his body were also awakening. It could be said that his strength was improving at a speed visible to the naked eye. As for Dumbo Gaia, who had devoured most of the dragonwood star's energy, the benefits were even greater. In the perception of Xiaoping's divine sense, the Gaia space in Dumbo's body seemed to be expanding rapidly, constantly opening up a space in the depths of chaos. In an instant, it was more than 10 times larger than before. At the same time, the dragonwood star core seemed to contain many cosmic laws and star laws. After being devoured by Dumbo, they were all integrated into the Gaia space. I see. Xiaoping was enlightened. He also understood why the star core was so important to Gaia's growth. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was the most precious food. That was because every star core was the most precious essence of a planet. It contained a vast amount of information about the laws of the world. For other living beings, this information about the laws of the universe was just an opportunity to comprehend it. However, it was different for Gaia. She could directly devour the star core, devour the energy within, as well as all sorts of cosmic laws, and make them her own. This saved him a lot of effort in comprehending the laws of the universe, and sped up Gaia's growth. It seems that after devouring this dragonwood star core, Dumbo's strength will increase by leaps and bounds. If there is a chance in the future, I will need to collect a large number of star cores. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He felt that collecting star cores through the All Saints Temple was a good idea, because he was worried that he could not spend the points he had. However, after devouring the dragonwood star core, Gaia fell into a deep slumber again. This was a common occurrence for Gaia. Their slumber usually lasted for tens of thousands of years. For them, time was just a concept. There was no limit to their lifespan. A few days later, Xiaoping had finally devoured the pure energy he had obtained from the dragonwood star core. His magic power and cultivation base had improved by a large margin, and he seemed to be on the verge of stepping into the peak of the near-ancient mid-stage. Perhaps after a while, he would have the opportunity to break through to the late near-ancient realm. In truth, in the past few days, he had not only been consolidating his cultivation base and devouring the energy of the dragonwood star core, he had also been cultivating his cloning technique. At this moment, he had finally produced his third clone, Gaia's clone. This was a powerful avatar from the Gaia bloodline. Is this Gaia's bloodline in power? Xiaoping closed his eyes and immersed his consciousness into the Gaia avatar. It was as if he had transformed into a newly born Gaia, becoming a member of the strongest race in the universe. My God, this power, is this Gaia? He clenched his fists and felt the abundant power in his body. It was an unprecedented feeling of power. A light punch was enough to shake the void. Most importantly, his body seemed to have produced a Gaia world. It was vast, at least 10 light years in diameter. However, this Gaia world was a new world, and the various universal laws had not been completely perfected. Even so, he could feel the boundless potential of his inner world. Is this Gaia's ability? Xiaoping continued to explore and immersed himself into the Gaia avatar. Immediately, he obtained a lot of information about Gaia. Race, Gaia Ability 1 Inner World. This is a world that Gaia was born with. It has the complete laws of heaven and earth, and can give birth to real life. This is a living space almost unique. Ability 2 Gaia's Guard. All living creatures that die in this Gaia world will have their souls integrated into the Gaia world. Their souls will be engraved with Gaia's imprint, and be bound by Gaia forever. If the dead soul is strong enough, it can survive in the void of Gaia, and become a hero spirit. This way, it can still have the power it had when it was alive, and become Gaia's guard, protecting the Gaia space. Ability 3. 3 Calamities and 9 Disasters. Born proficient in the power of calamities, and understand the universal laws of calamities. It can even control the power of natural disasters at will, triggering various universal disasters. As expected of the strongest race in the universe, it actually has so many incredible abilities. Xiaoping was amazed. He felt that he had only just begun to understand Gaia's power. It was far more powerful and unbelievable than he had imagined. Ignoring everything else, just the second ability alone made him feel like it was a godlike ability. If there were some relatively powerful creatures, such as sages, they would turn into hero spirits after they died. They would be controlled by Gaia, and become Gaia's loyal guards. In other words, as long as Gaia lived long enough and the life it gave birth to was strong enough, it would be equivalent to having countless powerful warriors and guards. Even if there was only one Gaia, it could become a super race. If there were dozens of ancient Gaias, it would be dozens of races. Furthermore, it would control an army of nearly undying hero spirits. Its strength was terrifying. Therefore, Gaia was considered the strongest race in the universe. No one dared to provoke it. This was the true saying that one person was a race. It seems like Gaia avatars have endless potential. I need to nurture them well. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He had already given birth to 3 avatars. They were the Gaia avatar, the Infernal Golden Crow avatar, and the World Tree avatar. Each avatar was sufficiently powerful, and had their own abilities. Also, he had killed quite a number of near-ancient sages this time. Through the World Tree, he had refined a large number of spatial fruits, allowing the 3 avatars to advance to the near-ancient realm. Their strength had increased by several times. Master. At this moment, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman's artifact spirit, Ao Wu's voice sounded. After several days of searching, I have finally found a way to sneak into the dragon realm. I believe that as long as you enter this path, even the old antiques of the dragon race will not be able to discover you. However, this is a temporary path. You have to enter within a day. Otherwise, this path will disappear completely. You have to hurry and enter the dragon realm. Alright, lead the way. Xiaoping naturally did not hesitate, and immediately took action. Chapter 24:19. Swoosh. Xiaoping immediately left the Mountain River Pearl space, and set off for a place in the dragon realm, according to the primordial heavenly dragon talisman artifact spirit Ao Wu's instructions. However, this nameless sea region seemed to be peaceful for the past few days. There were no dragon sages. The dragon sages probably did not even realize that some of the dragon sages had disappeared and been captured. After all, there was not much fighting in this sea region, so there were not many traces left. Furthermore, to the dragon sages, it was common for them to enter a certain cave and sleep for hundreds of years before waking up. Therefore, many sages in the dragon realm did not think much of their disappearance. They thought that the dragon sages had left the dragon realm to train in other stellar domains. If they were really discovered, all the sages in the Dragon Divine Hall would probably be furious. After all, it was an earth-shattering matter for their sages to be captured alive. Yes, this is the place. Head this way. Ao Wu directed Xiaoping in the direction he was heading. Xiaoping activated the Hell Golden Crow's eyes, and saw through all illusions. He immediately followed the direction Ao Wu was pointing, and saw a tiny spatial rift that seemed to lead to the dragon realm. Swoosh! His figure flashed, and he instantly left the spot and entered the spatial rift. Is this the place? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. After passing through the spatial rift, he seemed to have passed through thousands of layers of dimensional space and finally neared the dragon realm. He saw the vast dragon realm appear before him. It was like an ancestral dragon that traversed the entire universe, exuding an endless aura and majesty. The entire dragon realm seemed to emanate a scorching aura, like a blazing sun, emitting billions of scarlet rays that penetrated every corner of the void. Any living being that approached the dragon realm could feel the vastness and grandeur of this world. There seemed to be no end to it. It was like a small universe. That's right, Master. Head this way. Although the dragon realm is huge and is covered in dense universe laws, making it almost perfect, there will occasionally be some temporary flaws. Although they are quickly repaired, this is a great opportunity for us to sneak into the dragon realm. The primordial sky dragon artifact spirit, Ao Wu, explained as he guided Xiaoping. So that's how it is. There is indeed a hidden path here. Following Ao Wu's direction, Xiaoping's infernal golden crow eye looked down, penetrating countless obstacles and reaching the surface of the dragon realm. He saw a tiny spatial crack. If not for the primordial sky dragon talisman, it would have been impossible to find such a spatial rift. This was because in such a massive dragon world, such a rift could not be discovered, even if one looked carefully with the naked eye. Thinking of this, he did not hesitate at all. He instantly arrived at the spatial rift and entered the dragon realm. Boom! In the blink of an eye, Xiaoping vanished into the dragon world. Not even the dragonfolk old timers in the dragon god shrine could detect a single trace of him. It was because the dragon realm was just too large, its territory boundless. Even if they were constantly monitoring it, there was no way they could be completely thorough. There would always be times when they overlooked something. Is this the dragon realm? With a whoosh, Xiaoping entered the dragon world. He found himself in a dense forest. Trees that were thousands of meters tall grew everywhere. They were lush and full of life. The ground was also covered with weeds. At this moment, it was as if he had entered a kingdom of giants. Everything began to grow larger. At the same time, he felt that the entire dragon realm was filled with malice toward him. It was as if the dragon realm itself possessed a powerful and terrifying will that could suppress all foreign creatures. He would not even be able to use 80% of his strength in the dragon realm. It can actually suppress the power of outsiders. Xiaoping could not help but be a little surprised. He did not expect the dragon realm to have such a restrictive nomological force. All living creatures without the dragon bloodline would be suppressed by the nomological force when they entered the dragon realm. It was the same even for invincible sages who entered the dragon realm. It was as if they were constantly fighting against the entire world. It could be said that the dragon realm was an extremely xenophobic world. It never welcomed other creatures. Boom! But at that moment, an extremely massive dragon power surged out from the depths of the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. It was the power of an extremely ancient sky dragon. It immediately surged into Xiaoping's limbs and bones. This also filled Xiaoping's body with the power of the primordial heavenly dragon. It was as if every corner of his body was filled with the power of a dragon. Immediately, he sensed that the malice that the entire dragon realm had towards him had disappeared. Replacing it was full of kindness. A powerful dragon power surged in from all directions. It was as if he was enlightened. It helped him quickly condense his dermic powers. His combat strength increased by 30%. It was as if he was the son of destiny in this world. He was favored everywhere. Holy shit, the difference between the two is too great. This is discrimination. The corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched, and his face was gloomy. The status of an outsider and the status of a dragon were two completely different treatments. This was blatant discrimination. Outsiders had no human rights in the dragon realm. Such an increase in power and a decrease in power gave the dragons an advantage in the dragon realm. It was impossible for other foreign creatures to invade the dragon realm. The primordial heavenly dragon talisman actually has such an effect. Xiaoping had not expected that the primordial heavenly dragon talisman could actually bestow him with the power of a primordial heavenly dragon, filling his body with the power of a dragon. This way, he could deceive the will of the dragon realm and make the dragon realm admit that he was a part of the dragons. This way, he would not be ostracized and filled with malice. It had to be said that this was indeed very beneficial for him to travel in the dragon realm. Otherwise, if he was targeted by the will of the dragon realm, it would probably be very difficult for him to travel. After all, such an anomaly would be very conspicuous in the dragon realm. He would be discovered by the dragon race sages in no time. Alright. Ao Wu, how do you intend to devour the dragon realm source energy? Is there anything I can help with? Xiaoping asked. His main goal in entering the dragon realm was to help the primordial heavenly dragon talisman recover its peak power. His secondary goal was to obtain large amounts of treasures in the dragon realm. He remembered very clearly the difference between the primary and secondary. Actually, the method to devour the dragon realm source energy is very simple. As long as I stay in the dragon realm, I will naturally be able to devour the source energy scattered in the air. Upon hearing Xiaoping's words, Ao Wu said in a low voice, "But this method is really too slow. Even after 1,000,000 years, I may not be able to recover to my peak." Chapter 2420. Other than this, are there any other methods? Xiaoping looked at Ao Wu and asked. Although 1,000,000 years was nothing to a sage, and could pass by in the blink of an eye, it would be even better if he could speed it up. Moreover, he could not possibly stay in the dragon world for 1,000,000 years. Most importantly, the abyssal demons could attack at any time. He had to be vigilant at all times. Of course, the method I mentioned just now is the safest. The other dragon sages won't know about it, and will silently restore the primordial heavenly dragon talisman to its peak power. Ao Wu said. Other than that, there are two other methods. The first is to find a dragon vein. There are many huge dragon veins in the dragon world, and they contain extremely pure energy. If I can devour a few dragon veins and obtain their energy, I will be able to speed up my recovery and not waste my time here. But this method also has a flaw. Basically, every huge dragon vein in the dragon world already has an owner and is occupied by the dragon sages. If you want to steal the energy of the dragon veins, you will definitely clash with the other dragon sages. That is indeed a little dangerous. What about the second method? Xiaoping looked at Ao Wu. He also knew why Ao Wu said that this method was very dangerous. This was the dragon world. The dragon sages living in the dragon world were all interconnected. Attacking one would provoke a whole group of them. And he was just an outsider without any help. It was very easy for him to be surrounded and attacked. If he provoked some old antiques of the dragon race, he might not even be able to escape from this place. Therefore, this method also had a certain degree of risk. The second method is very simple. That is to devour dragon crystals. Ao Wu said in a low voice. Dragon crystals. Xiaoping's eyes lit up when he heard that. After obtaining the memories of the 8 dragon sages, he naturally knew what dragon crystals were. They were actually the main currency in the dragon world. Basically, every giant dragon used dragon crystals to buy all kinds of daily necessities and treasures. And dragon crystals were energy crystals formed from the dragon world's energy. If he devoured them, he would definitely be able to rapidly restore the primordial heavenly dragon talisman's strength. Therefore, to put it simply, he needed to spend a lot of money to restore the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. Then how many dragon crystals do you need to restore your peak power? Xiaoping asked. 100 billion. I only need 100 billion dragon crystals. Ao Wu blinked his innocent eyes. 100 billion. Hearing this, Xiaoping almost spat out his saliva. He was dumbstruck because this was simply an astronomical figure. In the dragon realm, the purchasing power of dragon crystals was very strong. One dragon crystal could buy a lot of things, enough for a family of 3 to live for 3 months. In fact, he had obtained quite a lot of dragon crystals from the space rings of the 8 dragon sages he had captured. However, there were only 130 million dragon crystals in total. It was already so difficult for even sage-level dragons to obtain dragon crystals, let alone other dragons. Of course, the dragon crystals in the space rings might not be their entire wealth. Most of their wealth was left in their nests. Even so, 100 billion dragon crystals was enough to make a primordial dragon go bankrupt, let alone other dragons. Ordinary dragons would never be able to earn so many dragon crystals in their entire lives. Xiaoping was dreaming if he wanted to earn 100 billion dragon crystals in a short period of time. Seems like robbing a dragon meridian is faster. He rubbed his chin and thought about the possibility of robbing other dragon sages. Any random dragon meridian would probably be worth more than 100 million dragon crystals. However, this was a little risky. If he was not careful, he would be ganged up on by the dragon sages. However, he had Zhuangzhou's dream butterfly secret technique. As long as he was careful, he could instantly control those dragon sages and then seal them. It was guaranteed that they would not be able to escape even if they wanted to. Seems like I need to understand the situation around here. See what this place is, and where the dragon meridian is. Although Xiaoping had obtained the memories of the 8 dragon race sages, it was only their memories. The entire dragon world was vast and boundless. Even the sages would not be able to know everything, no matter how big or small. Therefore, he decided to go to the nearby city to understand the situation. What is this? Suddenly, Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. He used his golden crow's hell eye, and immediately saw a strange flower, growing in the middle of a valley in the distance. The flower was transparent, and had no shape. Dense spatial law patterns appeared on the leaves, exuding a strong spatial aura. There seemed to be profound spatial runes flowing in the depths of the flower. Just by looking at it, the flower seemed to contain a boundless void. It was as if each leaf represented a small kiliocosm. No way, this is an invisible flower. Oh my god, this is indeed the dragon realm. I've only just arrived and I actually encountered this almost extinct invisible flower? At this time, the green ox jumped out and shouted excitedly. It immediately recognized the origin of the flower. What is an invisible flower? Xiaoping asked curiously. This is a strange flower that contains the power of the spatial law. It is almost extinct in the universe. It is said that it can only be born by absorbing the power of the void. The green ox immediately said, if a sage eats an invisible flower, they can immediately comprehend the profundities of the spatial law, and even turn their body into a spatial body. Because of the formless flower's powerful effects, countless immortal sages fought over it. Over time, the formless flower went extinct and never appeared in the universe again. Invisible flower. Hearing this, Xiaoping finally understood why the invisible flower went extinct. It could actually help immortal sages comprehend the spatial law and step into the near-ancient realm. This way, which immortal sage wouldn't go crazy? It was only natural for them to be robbed clean. Master, it is said that the black hole worm used to be a companion of the invisible flower. If we can obtain this invisible flower and give it to the black hole worm to nurture, it might be able to produce a second or even a third. The green ox said excitedly, there's such a thing. We can't miss out on such a spirit herb. Otherwise we'll be struck by lightning. Xiaoping nodded. His figure flashed and immediately appeared in the valley. He stretched out his hand, wanting to pluck the invisible flower. Stop. At this time, an angry roar came from the depths of the void, shaking the space and emitting dense killing intent. Chapter 24-21. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, 3 dragon sages appeared in the distance. 2 of them were peak immortal dragon sages, while the other was early ancient dragon sage. They seemed to have taken human form. They were tall, and had 2 purple dragon horns on their heads. Dragon scales covered their bodies, and they emitted faint draconic aura. In fact, this was how many dragons lived in the dragon world. For the sake of convenience, they would usually transform into their human forms. They would only transform into their true dragon forms when they were in battle. The 3 sages of the dragon clan were holding on to a little dragon clan Lolita, who was about 5 or 6 years old. She looked so cute and adorable that one would feel pity for her. Haha, as expected of the fate dragon. This is a dragon species favored by destiny. The near-ancient realm early-stage dragon saint laughed out loud in excitement. I heard that there might be a great opportunity in this valley, and it really did appear. It's as if the gods are helping us. Isn't that so? This is the famous formless flower. It contains the precious origin of the law of space. If we auction it, it'll be worth at least tens of millions of dragon crystals. An immortal dragon tribe holy sage said excitedly. Under normal circumstances, invisible flowers are almost impossible to detect, as they are in a transparent state and are isolated from divine sense detection. Sometimes, even if you pass by the invisible flower, you won't be able to detect it. I didn't think we would find them. This is like a pie falling from the sky. We're rich. We're really rich this time. I didn't think a random valley would have such a precious spirit herb. Another immortal dragon sage was also excited. This is all the power of destiny. If we use this power well, we might be able to surpass the immortal dragon realm in the future. It stared greedily at the little lowly dragon that was caught beside it. Clearly, this little lowly dragon was not with them. She was captured, and seemed to be the famous fate dragon. This was a special dragon species in the dragon realm, and was extremely rare. However, this little lowly dragon did not seem to be afraid at all. Instead, she looked at Xiaoping curiously and sized him up. Her big eyes seemed to flicker with a mysterious light. Dragon trafficker? Xiaoping was also very surprised. He did not expect that there would be a dragon trafficker in the dragon world. Furthermore, the other party was a dragon saint. It was really unbelievable. As a sage, there was nothing they couldn't do to earn dragon crystals. They didn't expect that these three fellows would do something like selling giant dragons. They were really a disgrace to sages. Wait, there seems to be a dragon in this valley. Damn it, we ran so fast, but the others still caught up to us. Hee, so what if we're the first to arrive? Once we kill this kid, won't the invisible flower belong to us? That's right. This treasure belongs to us. No one is allowed to take it away. These few dragon sages were engaged in a heated discussion. Obviously, they had also noticed Xiaoping, who had been standing next to them for a long time. Their pupils immediately contracted, and their bodies exuded a threatening aura. Kids, scram right now. We are interested in this invisible flower. The saint of the dragon clan, who was in the early ancient realm, stepped out. He snorted coldly and stared at Xiaoping with a murderous look. He was incomparably domineering. The moment he opened his mouth, he wanted to take the invisible flower for himself. Because a treasure like this was related to his future achievements. He couldn't give it to others. I want it. Moreover, according to the principle of first come, first served, no matter how I look at it, you won't get a chance. Xiaoping said indifferently, looking at these saints of the dragon clan. Shut up. What first come, first served? Which bastard came up with this principle? What a joke. I can't understand such a principle. I've never even heard of it. Kid, I have to teach you the principles of the dragon clan. A peak immortal realm saint sneered. In the dragon world, the strong are respected. Only those with bigger fists are the hard truth. I don't care if you're here first or later. As long as we want you, this invisible flower will be ours. If you dare to snatch it, you'll be the enemy of the three of us. You'll be killed without mercy. You'll die without an intact corpse. Do you understand? A thick murderous aura surged out of his body. He didn't even try to hide it, and just threatened Xiaoping. Why are you talking nonsense with him? Let's cripple this kid first. Let him know the principles of the dragon world. He wants to snatch the invisible flower from the three of us? He really doesn't know how to spell the word death. Another peak immortal realm saint of the dragon clan was extremely irritable. Without saying a word, he immediately rushed towards Xiaoping. A terrifying dragon aura burst out, shaking the entire forest and the void. The other two saints of the dragon clan didn't want to be outdone. The moment they finished speaking, they also attacked in two different directions, trying to kill Xiaoping in an instant. Now, not only did they want to get the invisible flower, but they also wanted to kill Xiaoping and rob him. They wanted to kill Xiaoping, who had come out of nowhere. Then they would get another windfall. It seemed like today was an opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. The strong are respected, huh? This law of the jungle suits me very well. In that case, all of you can fall into the illusion world. Secret soul technique. Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly. Xiaoping waved his hand. He liked the attitude of these saints of the dragon clan the most. Therefore, he wouldn't hold back for even a moment. In an instant, a powerful spiritual energy gushed out from his body. It seemed to turn into small blue butterflies, covering a radius of hundreds of light years in an instant. These blue butterflies were condensed from the power of the soul. They seemed to be able to travel through the three realms, and no space and time could stop them. Boom! Suddenly, just as the three saints of the dragon clan moved and came to his side, the void distorted. An unbelievably huge wave of illusion instantly penetrated into the depths of their souls. What's going on? The three saints of the dragon clan were shocked. At this moment, they actually felt a strong sense of drowsiness. With a bang, they couldn't withstand the power of the secret soul technique at all, and fell into the illusion. They couldn't get out of it in a short period of time. Not bad. Another three saint slaves of the dragon clan. The more idiots like them, the better. Xiaoping casually grabbed the three saints of the dragon clan and threw them into the space of the pearl of mountain and river. At the same time, he also placed 6 seals on the saints of the dragon clan. In an instant, these saints of the dragon clan were reduced to mortals, unable to use any power. Next, he looked at the little lowly dragon who was still standing on the ground and looking at him curiously. Even when she saw the saints of the dragon clan being easily defeated and captured on the spot, she didn't panic at all. It was as if everything was under her control, and nothing unexpected happened. Chapter 24-22. Aren't you afraid? Xiaoping looked at the little lowly dragon curiously. What's there to be afraid of? Fate guided me here to find you. If you come to me, you will be safe, and the bad guys who hurt me will also suffer. The little lowly dragon said. Her voice seemed to form a strange resonance with heaven and earth. Vaguely, Xiaoping seemed to have a karma connection with this little lowly. A line of karma that even the soul couldn't perceive connected the two. If he didn't have the book of karma, he probably wouldn't be able to perceive such an abnormality. Dong! Xiaoping was expressionless. He reached out and hit the little lowly dragon's head. Suddenly, the little lowly dragon couldn't help but cry out in pain. Bad guy, what are you doing? Why did you hit me? She looked at Xiaoping angrily. It seemed that she didn't expect this guy to dare to do this. I just want to ask, did fate tell you that I would hit your head? Xiaoping touched his chin. He felt that this little lowly dragon was very strange. She seemed to have some incredible ability. And just now, those dragon sages seemed to call her the dragon of fate, which sounded very special. Could it be that this little lowly had something to do with the power of fate? How could fate care about such a small thing? You bad guy, do you know whose head you are hitting? I am the great dragon of fate, the great holy dragon who controls the fate of all beings. Sooner or later, I will also become the master of the dragon god shrine. Why don't you hurry and worship me? The little lowly dragon was so angry that she glared at Xiaoping. Bang! Xiaoping was expressionless. He hit her head again, causing her to scream in pain. The little lowly dragon still wanted to stare at Xiaoping, but seeing Xiaoping's appearance, she immediately followed his heart. Sorry, I was bragging just now. In fact, I am a divination dragon. I only know some vague paths of fate. I rely on guessing all my life. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's okay. You can still be saved if you know you are wrong and change. Xiaoping was very satisfied and touched the little lowly dragon's head. By the way, I still don't know your name. Betty. You can call me Betty, the dragon of fate. Then sir, what is your name? The little lowly dragon asked curiously. Well, you can call me Master Potato. Xiaoping rubbed his chin and decided to give a fake name. Master Potato? What a strange name. Forget it, can I ask you for a favor? The little lowly Betty looked at Xiaoping eagerly. What is it? If it's too difficult, I'll definitely refuse. Xiaoping said. No, it's not difficult at all. In fact, those big baddies didn't just capture me. They also captured many of my companions. Right now, all of them are imprisoned in a spatial magic treasure on them. I hope to rescue them all. The little lowly long Betty said. There are other dragon whelps. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. It seemed that the dragon sages just now were a group of dragon traffickers. Not only did they capture this little lowly dragon, but they also captured other young dragons. With a whoosh, he scanned with his divine sense, and immediately found a spatial magic treasure hidden on one of the dragon saints. He immediately destroyed the spiritual imprint of this magic treasure, and took it for himself. Sure enough, there were 6 or 7 dragon whelps imprisoned in this spatial magic treasure. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Xiaoping waved his hand, and immediately released the 6 or 7 dragon whelps imprisoned in the spatial magic treasure. Suddenly, 4 little lowly dragons and 3 little dragon whelps appeared on the ground. Oh my god, we're finally released. Huh. Where did those bad guys go? Why can't I sense their aura? Look, it's Boss Betty. Boss is fine. She was right, we'll be rescued soon. Haha, that's great. The disappearance of those bad guys proves that Boss has taken care of them. The few dragon whelps were so excited that they danced and pounced on the dragon of destiny Betty. What are you yelling about? You're already a big dragon, and you don't know shame at all. Why are you yelling over such a small matter? You should be more mature, understand? Betty acted like a mature adult, but this could not hide the joy on her face. By the way, boss, who is this adult dragon? The little lowly dragon also noticed Xiaoping, who was standing next to her. Ahem, let me introduce you. This is the adult martial dragon that saved us. Betty pointed at Xiaoping. Hello, thank you for saving us. I am Mabel, the memory dragon. A little lowly dragon introduced herself. She wore a pair of large glasses and had a ponytail. She held a large book in her hand and looked very intellectual. I am Tadish, the cloud dream dragon. This is my twin sister, the sleeping dragon Constance. A little lowly dragon in a white dress introduced herself. She pointed at the little lowly dragon who looked almost identical to her and was sleeping soundly on the ground, indicating that she was her sister. As a sleeping dragon, her sister spent most of her time in a sleeping state. I am Caesar the time dragon. A shy and introverted little dragon said. He looked at Xiaoping curiously. His pupils were very special, as if they contained an ancient clock. I am Wales the slow dragon. A little dragon in a black dress stuttered, as if he could not even speak properly. Woo, I am Austin the gluttonous dragon. A little dragon with a mouth full of delicious food slurped down. It seemed that even though he had been caught, he was still eating. Oh, there's one more. Why don't you introduce yourself? Xiaoping raised an eyebrow. There's no more. These are all the young dragons. Betty blinked. What are you talking about? What's up with the one standing behind me? The one who seems to want to hit me with a stick. Xiaoping casually made a grabbing motion and immediately pulled out a Lolita dragon, wearing a white dress from the void behind him. The Lolita dragon was originally transparent, but after being caught by Xiaoping, she immediately revealed her body. She kept struggling in midair. Baddie, you big baddie, let me go. The lowly dragon was dancing in the air. It seemed that no one had ever treated her like this before. She had never been discovered so easily. She was going crazy. Betty seemed very shocked. She did not expect Xiaoping to discover the lowly dragon's existence. She immediately said, Don't attack. This is our companion. She is the invisible dragon Khalida. Bang! Hearing this, Xiaoping threw the invisible dragon Loli, who wanted to hit him with a stick, to the ground. The fall seemed to crack her butt. Chapter 24-23. How did you discover my existence? The invisible dragon Khalida suddenly stood up from the ground and looked at Xiaoping in shock. As an invisible dragon, she was born with the ability to blend into the void without emitting any space-time fluctuations. Even a giant dragon that had reached the sage realm might not be able to discover her. Moreover, due to her young age, this ability would automatically appear from time to time, causing her to often disappear in front of other giant dragons. Her sense of existence was extremely weak. She had even activated an invisible force, so that even her voice could not be transmitted out of this dimension. This also caused other giant dragons to be unable to discover her existence at all. She could only be alone in a corner. But now, someone could actually discover her existence immediately. Not only was she not angry, but she was also extremely surprised. It was as if she had finally found her companion. Nothing can hide from my eyes, do you understand? Xiaoping smiled slightly. The invisible dragon's power was indeed power. It was simply the power of laws that could blend into other dimensions without emitting any space-time fluctuations. Even if ancient sages appeared in this place, they might not be able to discover the invisible dragon's traces. But even so, his golden crow's hell eyes could see through all dimensional things. Even the traces of the invisible dragon were no exception. This was an even higher level of ocular power. Are they all special dragons? Xiaoping looked at these young dragons. According to the memories of the dragon sages that he had obtained before, he also understood why those dragon sages would capture these young dragons. It was because they were all special dragons with special abilities. The so-called special dragons were considered extremely special existences among the many giant dragons. They had all kinds of incredible abilities. However, special dragons were not inherited by bloodline. They purely relied on genetic mutation. Even a giant dragon with the lowest bloodline could give birth to a special dragon if they were lucky. Therefore, the birth of special dragons was random and unpredictable. It was true that for the Dragon God Shrine, every special dragon was an extremely precious resource that was worth cultivating. However, not every giant dragon thought so. In particular, some giant dragons with ulterior motives coveted the bloodline power of these special dragons. They could use special methods to extract the abilities of these special dragons and transplant them into their own bodies. It was conceivable that some special dragons without any background would end up tragically if they were targeted by WRMS with ulterior motives. They would die without a burial place. Of course, this practice was illegal in the Dragon Realm and was strongly prohibited by the Dragon God Shrine. Once discovered, the lightest punishment would be imprisonment or death. However, there was a saying in this world: what was illegal? If someone found out, it was illegal. But if no one found out, it was legal. Moreover, the Dragon Realm was too big. Even though the Dragon God Shrine was a super organization, it could not extend its tentacles to every corner of the Dragon Realm. Many dark things would happen in the Dragon Realm every moment, and the Dragon God Shrine could not stop them. Transactions that involved the sale of special dragons were also carried out all the time. But these special dragons are not simple. Xiaoping stroked his chin. This Betty claimed to be the dragon of destiny and had mastered the power of destiny. She could see the trajectories of the fates of countless living beings, and to a certain extent, even peek into the future. Just this Mabel was the dragon of fate. She had the power of fate and could see the fate of countless creatures. To a certain extent, she could even see the future. In addition, Mabel the memory dragon had a strange and powerful support ability. It could change the memories of many creatures on a large scale. It could be said that if Mabel grew up, she would be able to change the memories of others at will. In other words, she could replace someone's identity at will. If she wanted to, she could easily become the ruler of a country or the master of a super organization with the power of changing memories. No one would doubt her. If she wanted to deal with her enemies, she could make them lose their memories at will. She could even make them her slave and inject a lifetime of loyalty to her. Even Xiaoping was afraid of Mabel's ability. Even if this ability could not deal with him, it could deal with his family and friends. It was impossible to defend against. Invisible Dragon Kalida's ability was so powerful that even ancient sages could not find her. Moreover, she was only a young dragon. If she became an adult, she would be even more powerful. Using this ability, becoming a legendary assassin in the universe would be a piece of cake. If she wanted to, she could even enter the treasure vaults of powerful organizations and take all the treasures. The sleeping dragon Constance was also a special dragon. She had the power to put countless beings to sleep, and her body was constantly emitting the power of sleep. If she were to mature, she could put all beings in a galaxy to sleep with just a thought, and even the sages would not be able to withstand it. It was a strange power that could permeate the laws of the universe. The Dreamcloud Dragon Tadish was a special dragon that had grasped Dreamforce. It could enter the dreams of other living beings at will, reaching the realm of killing people in their dreams. If these two special dragons worked together, they would be invincible. Even the masters of illusion in the universe would not be able to do so. One could only imagine how terrifying these two special abilities were. Other than these few lowly dragons, there were 3 other dragons. For example, Time Dragon Caesar. He seemed to have control over the power of time, and could enter the dimension of time at will. He was born with control over the flow of time, and could even jump through time. It was hard to imagine what kind of existence he would be at his peak. There was also Slow Dragon Whales. He seemed to have the power to slow people by more than 10 times. Even sages could not avoid it. Even the space-time domain could not withstand it. This was a very powerful support ability. If he appeared on the battlefield and used the power of slow, the enemy would probably be dead. With their speed slowed by more than 10 times, how could they fight? They would all be waiting for death. There was also the gluttonous dragon Austin. He did not seem to have any special characteristics. The only special characteristic was his almost bottomless appetite. It seemed like he could eat as much as he wanted. This characteristic was similar to Tao Tai. Of course, his specific ability still had to be unearthed. It was not clear yet. Regardless, the special abilities of these young dragons were very scary, and they had endless potential. No one knew where these dragon sages found these special dragons. If they were really sold, their value would be extraordinary. They could be sold for an astronomical amount of money. Chapter 24-24. Alright, I have a rough idea of your situation. After hearing this, Xiaoping nodded. You are all young dragons that were kidnapped by bad dragons. If that's the case, you may leave. We will meet again. What? What do you mean? You're letting us go? Betty and the other young dragons widened their eyes. They did not expect the adult dragon in front of them to not have any ill intentions after knowing that they were special dragons. Instead, he let them go. Of course I'm letting you go. Otherwise, you won't be able to stay by my side. I can't afford to raise you young dragons. Moreover, I have important things to do. I don't have time to accompany you young dragons. Xiaoping said in disdain. He had important things to do in the dragon world. He had to plunder all kinds of treasures. He did not have time to accompany these young dragons. Wasn't he bringing a bunch of burdens with him? Scumbag dragon. Fate dragon Betty spat at Xiaoping. This is the wilderness. There are no dragons anywhere. As an adult dragon, you actually want to abandon us young dragons in this place. Are you even a dragon? Do you have any conscience? She glared at Xiaoping. The other young dragons immediately hugged Xiaoping's thighs and refused to let him go. They knew that if they wanted to leave this wild forest alive, they could only cling to this guy's thighs. No matter what special powers they had, they were still young dragons. They had not grown up yet. If they encountered any ferocious beasts, they would probably be eaten in one bite. If they encountered any bad guys, they would probably be captured again. What's wrong? Are you trying to extort money from me? Xiaoping was speechless. He saw the young dragons hugging him. It was obvious that they wanted to cling to him. I don't care. Anyway, we're following you. You can't abandon us. Moreover, we're very useful. I promise we won't cause you any trouble. Fate Dragon Betty patted her chest. The other young dragons nodded vigorously like chickens pecking at rice. Tell me, what's your use? You're only useful for getting food and drinks. What other use can you have? Xiaoping looked at the young dragons in disdain. If I'm not wrong, you want to find a dragon's vein. Suddenly, Fate Dragon Betty looked at Xiaoping. That's right. I do want to find a dragon's vein and devour its power. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He didn't expect Betty to see through his intentions. He clearly didn't say anything. Could it be that this was the unfathomable power of fate? Haha, I was right. Fate Dragon Betty said proudly. If you can temporarily protect us and provide us with basic necessities, I can use the power of fate to help you find a dragon vein. In order to express my sincerity, I can provide you with information regarding the dragon's vein for free. The bad dragons that you captured just now are actually members of an extremely powerful bandit group nearby, the Black Wind Stronghold. These bandit dragons were extremely powerful. It was said that their master was a black dragon, and his strength had reached the Middle Ancient Realm. He had several dozen Near Ancient Realm dragons, and several hundred Sempiternal Realm adult dragons, as his subordinates. It was precisely because of this power that they occupied a huge dragon vein, and were even able to stand up to more than a dozen nearby cities. They had also become a great threat to the surrounding areas. If you can kill those Black Wind Stronghold dragons, you will definitely be able to obtain the dragon vein. I can also guarantee that no other dragons will come looking for trouble with you. She looked at Xiaoping eagerly. Interesting. You want to use my power to help you deal with the Black Wind Stronghold and take revenge? Xiaoping immediately smiled. This Lolita dragon was quite scheming. She knew that she couldn't deal with the Black Wind Stronghold with her current strength, so she wanted to use the power of an adult dragon. Moreover, based on the powerful strength he had displayed just now, this Betty seemed to have confidence in him. Perhaps she had peeked into a certain future from the River of Fate. I can't deny that I do have such thoughts. But this is also very beneficial to you, isn't it? Of course, if you aren't willing, I can find other ownerless dragon veins. This is my sincerity, Fate Dragon Betty said in a low voice. I have to say, your words have moved me. I do need a dragon vein, and being able to be used by other dragons is also where my value lies. Xiaoping nodded. In other words, you agree to my conditions? Fate Dragon Betty looked at Xiaoping in surprise. Although she looked very calm, she was still a dragon whelp. Negotiating with an adult dragon was very stressful. Moreover, she also felt that her power of fate seemed to land on this strange adult dragon. But it was useless. It was as if the other party's future was nothing. This was the first time she had such a feeling. There was actually a dragon whose fate could not be peeked into. Therefore, she felt that this adult dragon in front of her must be very special, and definitely not ordinary. That's right. With such abilities, you are indeed worthy of me protecting you for a period of time. However, all of you must listen to my orders. Otherwise, I will throw you out immediately. Understand? Xiaoping looked at the group of dragon whelps. Understood. The group of dragon whelps nodded vigorously. They were very obedient. Then can we eat now? The gluttonous dragon Austin blinked his big eyes and looked at Xiaoping. His stomach sounded like it was beating a drum at this moment, letting out a rumbling sound. The other dragon whelps seemed to be starving as well. Obviously, the group of dragon traffickers would not treat them so well. They were always full and hungry. Their lives were very miserable. Hearing this, the corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched. He had not even started, and this group of dragon whelps was already extorting him. It seemed like they were treating him as a long-term meal ticket. Alright, if you're hungry, then let's eat. Xiaoping waved his hand, and immediately took out a large amount of food from the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. There were all kinds of ferocious beast meat, golden corn, crystal rice, and other spirit herbs. There were also many spirit fruits. Fortunately, he had already raised a Taotai with a huge appetite in the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. It was not much pressure to raise these dragon whelps. If it was a normal person, they would probably have been eaten. Oh my god, what is this food? It smells so good. This is unprecedented food. We have never seen it before. Where did you get it from? It's delicious. It's really delicious. What kind of meat is this? It actually melts in the mouth. I guess only the aristocratic dragons in the city have the right to eat it. When the group of dragon whelps saw Xiaoping take out piles of food that formed a small mountain, they were extremely excited. Their eyes were completely lit up like light bulbs. They could not wait to pounce on the food and gobble it down. It was like a tornado. Chapter 24-25. A majestic palace was built at the top of a mountain range. It was filled with a murderous aura. There seemed to be a huge dragon vein lying dormant in the depths of the mountain range. The surroundings were filled with the rich energy and aura of the dragon world's origin. This made the entire mountain range full of vitality and lush vegetation. This place was the Blackwind Stronghold's base. Many elites of the Blackwind Stronghold were gathered inside the palace. Their leader, Black Dragon Basta, was sitting on the throne. He emitted a terrifying dark aura that distorted the space around him. It was currently in a very bad mood. The robber dragons present were all shivering in fear, afraid that they would accidentally offend this black dragon that had reached the Middle Ancient stage and bring about a fatal disaster. Some dragons had offended the black dragon and ended up being eaten by it. One could imagine how ferocious the black dragon was. It was definitely an evil dragon that could intimidate millions of light years away. What's going on? Black Dragon Basta's eyes shone with a cruel light. Where did Garak and the other two pieces of trash go? According to the plan, they should have brought those special dragons back to the Blackwind Stronghold 3 days ago. But now where did they die to? They actually disappeared without a trace. Don't tell me they ran away with that group of special dragons? He suspected that his 3 trusted subordinates had already betrayed him. Those special dragons were too valuable. Each of them was worth a lot and could be sold for at least a few million dragon crystals, especially that Dragon of Destiny. If it was auctioned in the underground market, it would not be impossible for it to be sold for hundreds of millions of dragon crystals. After all, such special dragons were too rare. They might not appear even once in a billion years. As the saying went, the rarer something was, the greater its value. One could imagine how precious the Dragon of Destiny was. It was definitely priceless. If those idiots chose to betray the Blackwind Stronghold because of the value of these special dragons, it would not be impossible for them to do so. Chief, Garak, and the other 2 probably don't have the guts. You should believe in their loyalty. Some robber dragons that were familiar with Garak and the other dragons could not help but speak up for them. Bullshit, Black Dragon Basta shouted angrily. In the face of an astronomical number of dragon crystals, I don't believe that any dragon would be loyal. They were indeed loyal before, but that was only because they did not pay the price of betrayal. Clearly, if those special dragons were auctioned off, the dragon crystals that could be obtained would be enough to pay such a price. Damn you, Garak, don't let me, Basta, find you 3 traitors. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die without a burial place. Even the resurrection of the dragon god won't be able to save you. Its anger erupted to the extreme, killing intent rushing into the heavens. This was simply unprecedented rage. The betrayal of the 3 Blackwind Stronghold confidants had caused Pastita to suffer heavy losses. Who knew how many years it would take, and how many dragons it had to rob to recoup this loss? If Garak and the other 2 still dared to appear in front of it, they would definitely be torn into pieces. The other robber dragons lowered their heads and didn't dare to say anything. In fact, they were thinking the same thing as their boss. There had been no news for 3 days. If they hadn't betrayed their master and taken all those special dragons away, this wouldn't have happened. If they had the same opportunity, they would probably make the same choice. Because if they continued to be the underlings of the Blackwind Stronghold's master and risked their lives everywhere, how many years would it take for them to earn so much money? Indeed, as their leader said, they didn't betray before and showed a look of loyalty. This was only because the value of betrayal wasn't great enough. Convey my orders. Immediately send the Blackwind Stronghold brothers to search the countless cities within 1,000,000 light years. If they can find the whereabouts of Garak and the other 2 idiots, immediately report to me and kill without mercy. Black Dragon Basta shouted angrily. Yes, leader. Many robber dragons answered in unison. They knew that this was the price of betrayal. Whoever dared to betray Black Dragon Basta would be hunted for eternity until death. Even if they died, they wouldn't be able to rest in peace. Their corpses would be dug out, their tendons pulled out, and their flesh eaten raw. There's no need to search anymore. I've already killed those dragons. At this moment, there was a distortion in the void. Immediately, a young man walked out from the depths of the void. He appeared directly in front of the mini dragons and looked down at the Black Wind Stronghold dragons indifferently. Moreover, this young man also had 7 or 8 dragon whelps with him. They were strong, not afraid at all. They looked at the Black Wind Stronghold dragons curiously. This young man was obviously Xia Ping. Under the guidance of Betty, the Dragon of Destiny, he finally arrived at the Black Wind Stronghold after spending 3 days. After sensing the general situation of the Black Wind Stronghold, Xia Ping did not say anything and directly killed his way into the stronghold. With his current strength, he was no longer afraid of the Black Wind Stronghold dragons. "What kind of dragon are you?" Black Dragon Basta's pupils shrank. He couldn't help but feel shocked. This was because the Black Wind Stronghold's lair had been managed like an iron bucket by him. He had set up powerful restrictive formations everywhere, which could seal off time and space in all directions. Any enemy invasion, any rustling of grass in the wind, absolutely could not be hidden from him. However, this kid in front of him could actually sneak into his Black Wind Stronghold without a sound. How did he do it? "Chief, look, it's that group of special dragons." A bandit dragon immediately noticed the dragon whelps beside Xia Ping and could not help but shout. "Seems like it's just as you said. Garak and the other 2 idiots have died in your hands." Black Dragon Basta's expression was gloomy. "However, you're quite bold. You killed the dragons of my Black Wind Stronghold. But not only did you not run away, you even dared to kill your way into my Black Wind Stronghold. What are you trying to do?" Seeing the traces of these dragon whelps, he already knew that his 3 trusted subordinates did not betray him. Instead, they were killed by this mysterious young dragon in front of him. If that was not the case, why would this group of special dragon whelps appear here? However, the more it was so, the more he was afraid of this mysterious young dragon who suddenly appeared. If it wasn't for his boldness and skill, if it wasn't for his absolute confidence, how would this brat dare to appear in his Black Wind Stronghold? How would he dare to be so brazen? He believed that there were idiots in this world, but he did not believe that he would be so lucky to meet such an idiot. Without a doubt, this kid did not come with good intentions. "What are you trying to do?" "Of course, I'm going to annihilate the Black Wind Stronghold." Xia Ping smiled slightly, and a terrifying force immediately erupted from his body. A powerful space territory instantly covered the entire Black Wind Stronghold. Such a space territory was like a projection of the world descending. All the dragons of the Black Wind Stronghold could feel an almost suffocating aura. It was as if the time and space around them had frozen and eroded everything. No power could shake it. Chapter 24-26. You want to slaughter the Black Wind Stronghold? You're courting death. Black Dragon Basta roared furiously. A terrifying space-time domain erupted from his body. This was the Dragon Domain. Terrifying black energy instantly corroded everything within a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. Vaguely, a dragon's roar erupted from the depths of the void, shaking the space-time and distorting the laws. It immediately caused Xia Ping's space domain to tremble, and it seemed to crack slightly. Just this power of space-time alone far surpassed that of ordinary Middle Ancient saints. As expected of the Dragon Clan, their talent was astonishing, and their battle prowess was off the charts. "How dare you come to our Black Wind Stronghold and behave atrociously? You must be tired of living. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Go to hell. I'll send you to meet the god of the underworld now." The many Black Wind Stronghold bandit dragons were not to be outdone. All of them gave off ferocious expressions and attacked at the same time, unleashing terrifying magics at Xia Ping. In an instant, thousands of terrifying energy torrents poured down like rivers of laws, piercing through space-time and erupting with extremely terrifying destructive power. Slow. Before Xia Ping could make a move, Wales, the slow dragon beside him, made his move. A gray slow domain emanated from his body, instantly covering the entire Black Wind Stronghold. Under the effect of the slow domain, the thousands of energy torrents slowed down by more than 10 times. Even the movements and consciousness of the giant dragons slowed down. Even Black Dragon Basta, who had reached the Middle Ancient realm, was slightly affected. Seeing this, Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. The special ability of the slow dragon was indeed unimaginable. It had not even reached the sempiternal realm, but the power it unleashed actually contained the might of laws. Even saints could not avoid being affected. Of course, because the slow dragon whales was too young and weak, it could only affect them for a second. Even so, this ability was quite terrifying. In a battle between sages, 1 second was enough to determine the outcome of the battle. If Wales was an adult, he would probably be able to affect the enemies on the battlefield in an instant. Damn it! The mini-giant dragons of the Blackwind stronghold were shocked and furious. This detestable special dragon actually dared to attack them. It was practically seeking death. However, this power was also extremely special and powerful, greatly affecting them. All of them circulated the dragon power in their bodies, trying to break free from the restraint of the slow force. Sleep. At that moment, the sleeping dragon Constance made her move as well. The sleeping field emanated from her, and it was a field of extreme darkness that covered the entire Blackwind stronghold in an instant. The dragons of the Blackwind stockade immediately felt their minds go blank. They felt extremely sleepy, as if they would fall into a deep slumber in the next second. Intrusive dream. Dreamcloud dragon Tadish formed a seal with both her hands, and a transparent dream dragon emerged from her body. These dream dragons existed between the real and the illusory, shuttling back and forth in the depths of the dimension. These dream dragons instantly pounced on the bodies of the Black Wind stockade dragons, attempting to penetrate their souls and drag them into their dreams. In the dream, she was the master, a truly invincible master. Black Dragon Roar. However, at that moment, the ancient Middle Realm Black Dragon Basta let out a furious roar that shook the heavens and the earth. This was a dragon roar that contained the power of space and time. Rumble, in the blink of an eye, the surrounding void distorted and all the laws shattered. The slumber domain, the dreamland domain, and the deceleration domain were all shaken to the point of collapse. Although these special powers were very strange and powerful, they were still very weak in the face of absolute power. They could not stop the ancient Middle Realm Black Dragon Basta at all. All of a sudden, the dreamy cloud dragon, the sleeping dragon, and the slow dragon were sent flying. They hid behind Xiaoping, and were incredibly frightened. Their power was simply unable to restrain the other party. The difference between the two sides was just too great. You whelps simply don't know what's good for you. How dare you attack the great Black Dragon Pasteur? I'll capture all of you later and torture you for 7 days and 7 nights. A terrifying dark aura exploded from Basta's body. This dark aura seemed to have a life of its own, corroding everything. The dark space-time field constantly corroded the void. It seemed like this power was even corroding Xiaoping's space field. However, Xiaoping's space field was too strong and extremely sturdy, like a spatial wall. Even after expending a great deal of Basta's strength, it could not corrode much space. Dark explosion. However, Basta was even more furious. He used all his strength and punched out. Terrifying dark space-time power instantly exploded, producing extreme destructive power. Under this punch, even a planet would be destroyed and turned into cosmic dust. Die. Coming to the Black Wind stronghold is your greatest misfortune. Kill these guys. The other dragons of the Black Wind stronghold also attacked at the same time, displaying their terrifying divine powers. It seemed like the surrounding hundreds of millions of kilometers were filled with destructive waves. Even if a spatial storm erupted here, it would not be much. So scary. Fate Dragon Betty and the other young dragons were all terrified when they saw this. They were just young dragons. They had never seen adult dragons fight to the death like this. Every punch and kick contained violent divine powers and power of laws. The surrounding void was filled with terrifying killing intent, penetrating souls, and piercing through space-time. If they were not protected by Xiaoping, they would have been torn to pieces by this violent power. Even though they were special dragons with infinite potential, they were still nothing if they did not grow up. There had been countless special dragons in history, but there were still very few special dragons that could truly grow to their peak state. It could be said that they could be counted on one hand. Karma barrier. Xiaoping did not even look at it. He immediately took out his book of karma. Immediately, a transparent barrier surged out from his body. It was entangled with the power of karma, forming an absolute barrier that covered all directions. This, Fate Dragon Betty's eyes widened in shock. She could feel the power of fate and karma from it. This was even more profound than the power of fate that she had. It seemed to have seeped into the essence of the laws of the universe. Boom! At this moment, Black Dragon Pastita and the hundreds of dragons from the Black Wind stronghold rushed over. It was like thousands of volcanoes erupting, like countless floods crashing into each other, like billions of stars shattering, and all of them poured onto the karma barrier. The surrounding space continuously trembled, and explosions rang out. The entire Black Wind stronghold continuously swayed. Hundreds of shocking cracks appeared, and the ground collapsed. Chapter 24-27. What? Impossible? In the next second, Bardas and the other dragons from the Black Wind stockade widened their eyes in disbelief. This was because they realized that when their attacks landed on the mysterious dragon's body, they were actually blocked by the thin, transparent barrier. The strange transparent barrier looked very thin, as if it would break with a single touch. However, when the violent torrent of energy bombarded it, it was like a world barrier. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't break through the barrier at all. What shocked them even more was that the power they bombarded was actually reflected by the strange transparent barrier. Moreover, it was reflected along the way. Damn, this is too shameless. How can there be such a shameless divine ability in this world? Is there any reason? Black Dragon Bardas and the other dragons' faces turned green. They were scared half to death. Just now they had risked their lives to attack. Even a Middle Ancient dragon could be killed, or at least heavily injured. Now this power could actually be reflected. How could this not be? Wasn't this asking for their lives? However, it was too late even if they wanted to run now. The speed of the rebound was too fast. It was twice the speed of their attack just now. How could they escape? Rumbled in an instant, thousands of torrents of laws crushed over and bombarded Black Dragon Bardas and the other dragons. They were all heavily injured in an instant, and they couldn't help but let out shrill cries. The entire Black Wind Stronghold's palace was torn apart by this power, causing it to collapse. The surrounding restrictive formations were instantly shattered, and the mountains collapsed. Even the ground nearby had cracks that were thousands of kilometers long. Smoke and dust were everywhere, and there was a loud rumble. So powerful. Destiny Dragon Betty and the other young dragons looked at Xiaoping with admiration. They had never seen such a powerful adult dragon. To be honest, Black Dragon Bardas was like an ultimate boss to them. They couldn't beat him at all. He was a mountain that they couldn't shake. But now, such a terrifying Black Dragon Bardas was easily defeated by this adult dragon. One could imagine how much they admired Xiaoping. It was simply indescribable. Bastard, damn it. At this moment, Black Dragon Bardas and the other giant dragons struggled to climb up from the gravel. They were shocked and angry at the same time. They were seriously injured, and a large amount of blood spurted out from their bodies. Although the attack just now was very terrifying, at the critical moment, they still relied on their rich combat experience to immediately neutralize the force, so that they did not suffer fatal injuries. He's still alive? You do have some ability. Xiaoping raised his brows. He had no intention of stopping, and immediately used his divine art. Soul secret technique, Zhuangzhou dreams of butterflies. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the surrounding space distorted. This was an illusory realm domain that was more than 1,000 times stronger than the sleeping dragon and the dreamy cloud dragon. It silently permeated the space in all directions. Thousands upon thousands of azure butterflies appeared. They were situated between the real and the illusory. They immediately entered the bodies of Black Dragon Bardas and the other bandit dragons, seeping into the depths of their souls. What? Damn it! This is the power of illusion. It is more than 1,000 times stronger than the dreamy cloud dragon. Stop immediately. Do you know what kind of dragon I am? You actually dare to attack me. Black Dragon Bardas and the other giant dragons were already in a state of serious injury. They were caught off guard and fell into the world of Zhuangzhou's dream butterfly. They thought that they had turned into butterflies and completely lost their consciousness. With a few thuds, they immediately fainted on the ground and lost the ability to resist. Such powerful dream force. The two little Lolas, Dreamy Cloud Dragon and the Sleeping Dragon, looked at Xia Ping with admiration. They could sense that this was an even higher level of dream force. It was far beyond their bloodline divine art. This was almost the essence of the illusory law. Although they naturally grasped the power of dream force and dream force, cultivators who comprehended the illusory law through arduous cultivation would definitely not lose to them. They only had a further starting line than the others. It would still be extremely difficult to reach the finish line. Not bad. This time's harvest is not bad. Xia Ping grabbed with his hand and immediately used the 6 Dao sealing technique to seal all these robber dragons. They immediately turned into existences like mortals and lost their powers. He was reluctant to kill these sage-level giant dragons. He captured them and put them in the space of his mountain river pearl. They would definitely be excellent laborers and slaves to help him with his work. If others knew that Xia Ping had captured so many giant dragons as laborers, they would definitely go crazy with jealousy. Of course, if the Dragon God Shrine found out, he would probably be chased by all the giant dragons in the universe. What kind of dragon is this? It has the power of absolute barrier, the power of dream force, and even the sealing power of a sealing dragon. Destiny Dragon Betty was a little confused. She didn't know what kind of giant dragon Xia Ping was. Adult dragon, you are so powerful. Gluttony dragon, time dragon, formless dragon, memory dragon, and the other young dragons looked at Xia Ping with admiration. It's nothing. How can I walk in the world without some skills? However, after killing these robber dragons, all the treasures in the Black Wind stronghold will belong to us. Xia Ping touched his chin and looked around. As a famous robber dragon that shocked many cities in the surrounding millions of light years, there must be countless treasures in their lair. Treasures? Hearing this, the eyes of Destiny Dragon Betty and the other young dragons lit up, revealing the shape of gems. As giant dragons, their love for gems was simply seeping into their blood and engraved in the depths of their genes. It's here. The treasures of those robber dragons are in this place. Formless Dragon Kalita immediately shouted. As a formless dragon, she could pass through all kinds of laws and restrictions at will. There were not many things in the world that could restrain her. Therefore, she was very talented in finding all kinds of treasures, just like a treasure hunter. A group of young dragons heard this voice and ran over happily. Xia Ping also went over. With a point of his finger, he instantly broke the restriction array formation of the treasure vault and opened the door. Immediately, a mountain of gems and a large number of dragon crystals appeared in the depths of the treasure vault. Apart from that, there were also all kinds of strange and rare items from the dragon world. Oh my god, there really is a treasure vault here. How much wealth did these robbers plunder from the people? Robbing the rich to give to the poor. We are robbing the rich to give to the poor. Dream. I'm finally going to realize my dream of sleeping on gems every day. Sob sob sob, it's mine. These gems are all mine. A group of young dragons pounced over excitedly. They hugged a large pile of gems with blissful expressions, as if they were about to faint from excitement. At this moment, Xia Ping arrived at the end of the Black Wind Stronghold's dragon vein. He wanted to completely devour this dragon vein. Chapter 24-28. Aowu, is this the dragon vein? At this moment, Xia Ping had arrived at a mountain range in the Black Wind Stronghold. His eyes pierced through the air, and he immediately saw a huge energy vein lying dormant in the depths of the mountain range. It seemed to contain a boundless amount of energy. The aura emitted by this meridian seemed to be very beneficial to the dragon race. If one stayed here for a long time, it might even be able to increase the density of one's bloodline and improve their aptitude. That's right, Master. This is the dragon vein. The primordial sky dragon talisman artifact spirit, Aowu, immediately jumped out. He looked at the dragon vein in excitement. Then how did you devour this dragon vein? Xiaoping asked. This is simple. Ao Wu's figure flashed, and the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans immediately entered the deepest part of the dragon vein. It was as if they covered every corner of the dragon vein. Crash! Instantly, the primordial heavenly dragon talismans produced vortexes that erupted with a devouring force. The entire dragon vein's energy was immediately devoured by the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. It surged into the depths of the primordial heavenly dragon talisman as the massive dragon vein's energy rapidly vanished. Ha! Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He sensed that the primordial heavenly dragon talisman was transmitting massive amounts of dragon lineage energy to him. It was infused into his limbs and seeped into every cell in his body. Although most of the dragon vein energy had been devoured by the primordial sky dragon talisman to be used to repair it, a portion of the energy was still transmitted to him through the primordial sky dragon talisman. He could feel that the magic power in his body was increasing crazily, as if he had taken many peerless treasured medicines. This saved him at least 1,000,000 years of effort in condensing magic power. At the same time, strands of the dragon realm's essence energy were also strengthening his soul power, tempering his body, causing it to grow stronger bit by bit. Boom! After a full hour, the entire dragon vein had been completely devoured by the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. Not a single drop was left. Ao Wu seemed to burp and turned back into a small dragon, returning to Xiaoping's side. At this time, the entire Black Wind Stronghold mountain range had lost its spirituality from before. Most of the dragon vein energy had dissipated, and the land was withered and yellow, filled with a deathly stillness. Is this dragon vein completely dead? Xiaoping asked. No, it's not dead. The dragon vein will not die. This is a natural image created by the world. Unless the world changes, the dragon vein will not disappear. Ao Wu said. It's just that I just devoured all the energy that this dragon vein has accumulated for billions of years. If it wants to recover to its peak, I'm afraid it will need billions of years. It meant that the dragon vein was not dead, but it would take a long time for it to recover to its peak state. It was estimated that for a long time, this place would no longer be a paradise. How do you feel? Have you recovered a little? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. I've recovered a portion. Devouring this dragon vein is equivalent to devouring 100 million dragon crystals. Upon hearing this, Ao Wu said nonchalantly, although it's just a drop in the bucket, it's still considered a meal. Xiaoping was speechless. Devouring an entire dragon's vein was only equivalent to eating dessert after a meal. If the Black Wind Stronghold's bandit dragons heard this, they would definitely die from anger. The energy of the dragon vein, that they had painstakingly accumulated over countless years, had been devoured by this fellow in one gulp. This was like a poor person who had painstakingly spent decades to accumulate millions of wealth, but who would have thought that it would all be gone in one meal? The difference between people was just too great. However, it seemed that his operation this time was not bad. At least the primordial heavenly dragon talisman had recovered a portion of its power. This was also the first step of his long journey. Whoosh! At that thought, Xiaoping's figure flashed, and he once again returned to the Black Wind Stronghold's treasure vault. He saw that the Destiny Dragon, Invisible Dragon, Memory Dragon, and other young dragons were packing the treasure vault with all sorts of gems, dragon crystals, and large amounts of rare materials. However, they did not seem to have treasures like interspatial rings on them. As a result, even though they had gone all out, they had only managed to store a drop in the bucket. This made them very vexed. Oh my god, there are just too many treasures in this treasure vault. That's the Dragon Blood Stone, a unique gem that seems to be born after being soaked in the blood of a giant dragon. If it is integrated into a Dharma treasure, it will possess dragon might, and can even increase the power of the Dharma treasure by 30%. When the Green Ox saw the treasures in the treasure vault, he could not help but exclaim, "That's the dragon scale armor, refined from the scales of a giant dragon. It seems to have an impenetrable defense. Furthermore, it is extremely sturdy and rare in the world. And that's the Dragon Fang blade. It seems that sage-level giant dragons will change their teeth every million years. Those fallen teeth can be refined into sharp treasured swords that contain indestructible power. Oh my God! These materials are treasures. If they were placed in the outside world, they would definitely be priceless items. If they were sold, people would become rich overnight. The Dragon Realm is really an unparalleled treasure land. Karun could not help but nod. He felt that the treasures in this treasure vault alone far exceeded the entire wealth of a few Middle Ancient saints. Moreover, these treasures from the Dragon Realm were basically very difficult to find in the outside world, which made them even more valuable. After all, many people hoped to collect treasures from the Dragon Realm, as it was a symbol of status. Whoosh! Seeing this, Xiaoping waved his hand, and immediately put away most of the gems and materials from the Dragon Realm in the treasury. Hey, adult dragon, what are you doing? Gems, my gems are all gone. Bad dragon, don't take away our treasures. The Dragon of Destiny Betty and the other young dragons exclaimed. They immediately realized that all the treasures in the treasure vault had disappeared, and immediately cried out in alarm. They glared at Xiaoping angrily. For giant dragons, treasures were simply as important as their lives. What do you mean by taking away your treasures? If I don't take them away, do you think you can take them away? You don't have any spatial Dharma treasures that can store these treasures. Xiaoping said eloquently. The Dragon of Destiny Betty and the other young dragons were speechless when they heard this. Indeed, they did not have any spatial Dharma treasures on them, and could not take away all the treasures. If not for Xiaoping's help, these treasures would probably have been left in this place. At this moment, Xiaoping rolled his eyes and said carelessly, By the way, do you want me to help you keep your treasures? You are still young, and with so many treasures on you, it will be easy for bad people to target and take them away. But it's different with me. I can help you avoid being taken away by other bad people. Don't worry, I can return them to you when you grow up. Chapter 24-29. Yes, the adult dragon seems to have a point. If the other bad dragons see that we have so many treasures, they'll definitely want to rob us. We won't be able to keep them. Hearing this, gluttonous dragon Austin nodded in agreement. The other young dragons also nodded in agreement. They felt that Xiaoping's words made sense. They were too young. If they were robbed by the other bad dragons, they'd be doomed. Don't believe this adult dragon. Fate Dragon Betty looked at Xiaoping angrily. What do you mean by keeping them safe for us? That's nonsense. He clearly wants to take all our treasures for himself. What do you mean you'll return them to us when you grow up? When will we grow up? If we really grow up, this bad dragon will definitely find another excuse to take our treasures. Don't worry, I'm an honest adult dragon. I won't lie to a child unless it's really valuable, Xiaoping said casually. Then, he grabbed and took away all the treasures the young dragons had packed. He didn't give them a chance to object. Damn bad dragon. Fate Dragon Betty clenched her teeth. She wanted to rush up and beat the asshole up. But after thinking about it, she realized that she wasn't this adult dragon's match. She could only hold it in for now. Right, are there any prosperous cities nearby? Xiaoping asked. He wanted to understand the situation nearby. There's White Dragon City. It's the largest city in a radius of 10 million light years. Its master is a white dragon. Its power has reached the level of an ancient dragon. Even the Black Wind stronghold doesn't dare to offend him. Although she was angry, Fate Dragon Betty still told Xiaoping what she knew. Okay, then let's go to White Dragon City first. Xiaoping nodded and immediately set off for White Dragon City. Just you wait. When we get to White Dragon City, I'll eat you poor. Fate Dragon Betty had a bad idea. She wanted to go to White Dragon City to eat and recoup all the losses. Otherwise, all the treasure she had would be lost for nothing. After Xiaoping and the others left for a while, the nearby dragons noticed the situation and gathered. They too realized that something was wrong with the Black Wind stronghold. What's going on? Why did the Black Wind stronghold suddenly erupt in flames and smoke everywhere? All the restrictive formations have been destroyed, and even the underground dragon vein has disappeared? Some of the sempiternal realm dragons were astonished to see this sight. That was because the Black Wind Stronghold was a famous bandit group in the surrounding 1 million light years. Who knew how many giant dragons they had robbed? They were so ferocious that even some of the nearby cities did not dare to offend them. As the chief of the Black Wind Stronghold, Black Dragon's might was unparalleled, and he killed like flies. The Black Wind Stronghold is definitely Chufeng's problem. Maybe he provoked an enemy and was ambushed. A sempiternal realm dragon guessed. It really is an enemy. One of the bolder near ancient realm dragons took a look and immediately cried out. Heavens, the entire Black Wind Stronghold has been destroyed. All of the restrictive formations have been destroyed, and even the Black Wind Stronghold's dragon vein has been sucked dry. Holy shit, it really is. Just what dragon did this? What deep grudge does it have with the Black Wind Stronghold? Who knows? The Black Wind Stronghold has always done all sorts of evil deeds. It's not surprising for them to provoke so many enemies. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Let's head to the Black Wind Stronghold and see if there are any treasures left behind. That's right. The Black Wind Stronghold has been a notorious bandit group for many years. Who knows how many dragons they have robbed? The wealth they have accumulated over hundreds of millions of years must be astounding. That's right. Even if it has been plundered by the other dragons, at the very least, there are still some nails left behind. Who knows? We might be able to find some treasures that were left behind. The many dragons were tempted, and they quickly approached the Black Wind Stronghold. What the heck? Screw that bastard. Just who in the world could have plundered the Black Wind Stronghold so thoroughly that not even a single nail was left behind? That guy must have gone mad from poverty. Soon, a near-ancient realm dragon cursed furiously as his face turned green. He plundered the entire Black Wind Stronghold, but found that there was not a single treasure to be found. The culprit who killed the Black Wind Stronghold seemed to be very good at plundering treasures. He had plundered the entire stronghold clean. No, this was not looting treasures. It was moving. Even some of the Black Wind Stronghold's wooden beams had been forcefully taken away. Damn it. Just how much money did that bastard need? Didn't he know how to leave behind anything valuable? The other dragons were also extremely frustrated. Not knowing what to say, they could only leave in the end. The eyes of some of the dragons in the nearby cities were sparkling with excitement. Haha, the Black Wind Stronghold is finally done for. The heavens really have eyes. Finally, there are dragons who can take care of them. Without the Black Wind Stronghold's evil bandits, our bitter days in the nearby cities have finally come to an end. No one will dare to kill us on the roads anymore. However, the Black Wind Stronghold is not a force to be trifled with. They actually colluded with many other forces. They can be considered as the black gloves of those major forces, specializing in doing dirty things. It is precisely because they have the protection of these major forces that the Black Wind Stronghold can be so fearless. Even after being surrounded several times, they can still stand tall and become one of the major forces in the vicinity. Of course, the Black Wind Stronghold's chief, Black Dragon Pastita, is not a dragon to be trifled with. His strength has reached the Middle Ancient Realm, and he has comprehended the laws of time. He is not that easy to kill either. That's right. I looked at the surroundings of the Black Wind Stronghold just now. It doesn't seem to have been damaged too much, and there aren't many traces of an intense battle. It is obvious that the Black Wind Stronghold's bandit dragons were ambushed suddenly. They did not even have the strength to resist before they were taken away or killed. Looks like the dragon that attacked the Black Wind Stronghold is very terrifying. It might have reached the immemorial ancient realm and comprehended the laws of creation. Why do we care about this? In any case, this is a matter between the big shots. It has nothing to do with us. We just need to report this news. That's right. The more we know, the faster we die. This is my experience as a scout over the years. The many giant dragon scouts discussed among themselves. They immediately left the Black Wind Stronghold and returned to their respective cities, reporting the Black Wind Stronghold to their masters. In an instant, the news of the Black Wind Stronghold's destruction spread throughout the region within a radius of 10 million light years. It also caused a commotion among many forces. Many giant dragon scouts made their move, trying to find out which force had personally destroyed the Black Wind stronghold. This would have an extremely profound impact on the future distribution of forces in this region. However, no matter how much they asked, they could not find any clues or information. Chapter 24:30. In the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. At this moment, Black Dragon Pastita and the other bandit dragons finally woke up. They looked around and realized that they were in another place. What's going on? This isn't the Black Wind stronghold. Where is this place? Have we been captured? Black Dragon Basta was taken aback. In its memory, it should have been fighting that damned mysterious dragon. But in the next second, it and its dragons appeared in this strange place. Most importantly, the surrounding energy was not the origin energy of the dragon world, but other spiritual energy of heaven and earth. This feeling made him feel very unfamiliar and uneasy. If they were captured, why didn't they seem to be chained? Could it be that the other party was so confident that they wouldn't escape after being captured? If that was the case, it would be looking down on dragons. After all, he was a medial dragon that had comprehended the law of time. Boss, this is bad. Our powers have disappeared. They've all disappeared. Oh my god, what's going on? Why can't I sense any power? At this moment, all the bandit dragons shouted. They suddenly realized that they had become ordinary dragons. Apart from the physical strength of the dragon race, they could not use any other power. The bandit dragons were horrified. A giant dragon that had lost its power was even more miserable than death. Damn it! Pasta's expression was extremely terrible. It was as if someone had stuffed a toad in his mouth. He had never been so desperate before, because he also realized that he had lost his powers. As a medial dragon, he could not even mobilize a trace of magic power, let alone comprehend the law of time and space. It was as if he had returned to the age of a young dragon. No, he was even weaker than a young dragon. It was as if he had been completely deprived of his extraordinary powers. What are you arguing about? You're like a sissy. At this moment, an impatient voice called out. What dragon? Pasta and the other bandit dragons turned around and immediately saw what seemed to be a thatched cottage in the distance. There were 3 dragons lying on the ground. They seemed to have been woken up by the other dragons. These 3 dragons were Herbert and the other dragons that Xia Ping had captured into the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. You're also a dragon. What is this place? Why did our powers disappear? Black Dragon Basta instinctively felt that the 3 dragons knew a lot about the situation. Hee, what is this place? This is a prison, the dragon's prison, you know? Herbert looked at Basta and the other dragons with pity. I didn't expect you to be captured as well. How unlucky. You'll probably be trapped in this prison for the rest of your lives. Also, why did the powers in your bodies disappear? The reason is very simple. The owner of this prison sealed all the WIRM powers in our bodies and reduced us to ordinary dragons. Impossible. We can't use any of our power. Even the sealed dragon can't do this. Who is the master of this prison? How dare he capture so many giant dragons? Isn't he afraid of angering the dragon god shrine? Black Dragon Basta was shocked and furious. It suddenly remembered the mysterious dragon that had come to the Black Wind stronghold to cause trouble for it. Could it be that the dragon was a member of some mysterious organization and had personally captured them and brought them to this place? Hee, ignorant mortal dragon, there are many things you don't know. Even if a sealed dragon can't do this, can't other lifeforms do it? This is no longer the dragon world. Herbert sighed. What? This is no longer the dragon world? Hearing this, Black Dragon Basta and the other dragons were shocked. They widened their eyes in shock. To be honest, this was even more shocking than when they were captured. Capturing them and leaving the dragon world without a trace was simply unimaginable. This meant that the other party had the power to hide from the dragon god shrine. They immediately felt as if there was a huge black hand controlling everything from behind. Is there no way to escape this place? Black Dragon Basta gritted his teeth. Escape? How can we escape? This is a sealed world. How can we escape from this world without our powers? Hearing this, Herbert immediately laughed. Also, so what if we can escape from this prison world? If we can't remove the seals on our bodies, we might die even faster if we leave the outside world. Giant dragons like us who have reached the sage realm are probably the most delicious food in the outside world, or mobile treasures. It's even possible for us to be sliced open. This black dragon Basta and the other dragons were in despair. Indeed, if they could not remove the seals on their bodies, they would probably be ordinary dragons for the rest of their lives. Dragons that lost their powers would no longer be giant dragons. They would rather die. Alright, let's cut the crap. Those bastard supervisors will be here soon. Don't give them an excuse to cause trouble. Otherwise, both you and I will suffer. Suddenly, Herbert's expression changed, as if he sensed that time had arrived. The other two dragons immediately stood up with solemn expressions. Supervisors. Hearing this, Black Dragon Basta and the other dragons were dumbfounded. They did not know what they were talking about. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, three huge figures flew over from afar. They emitted a savage aura. They were the primordial species that had reached the lightning retribution realm. The Fae, the nine-headed lion, and the crow demon bird. They looked at the group of giant dragons with arrogant expressions on their faces. You useless dragons. It seems that all of you have woken up and eaten your fill. Then cut the crap, and follow me to plow the fields, plant the spirit herbs, and carry the fertilizer. If any of you dare to make a mistake and mess up my business, all of you will have to bear the consequences. The Fae stood with its hands behind its back. Since you have made me unhappy, I will make you unhappy for the rest of your lives. Lowly primordial species, how dare you speak to us dragons like this? Do you want to die? Black Dragon Basta shouted angrily. However, before it could finish its sentence, the crow fiend bird beside it slapped its paw. With a loud bang, it instantly slapped Basta's face, causing it to swell up. Its body spun more than 10 times on the spot, making it dizzy. Shut up. The crow demon bird sneered. I don't care what your identity was before, where you came from, or what strength you have. You only have one identity here, and that is slaves. You have no rights, no wages, and you don't even have a name. You can only call yourselves by your code names here. I, the supervisor, haven't said anything, and you dare to be so arrogant. It seems that you lack a lesson. You don't have to work today. Hang me on the mountain, and expose me to the sun for 3 days and 3 nights. It grabbed the black dragon Pastita like a worm, and hung him on a nearby mountain, where he was exposed to the sun and rain. Chapter 2431. Black Dragon Bardas screamed in extreme pain. His body was burning with pain, and he was simply going crazy with anger. He was a primordial dragon that had comprehended the law of time. Even in the dragon realm, he was a rather powerful existence. Now, he was actually being humiliated by a thunder retribution realm ant. This was simply the greatest humiliation. If he could recover his strength, he would definitely kill this damned ant and destroy both his body and soul. But this was only a fantasy. The 6 Paths seal was far more terrifying than a sage could imagine. It contained the power of the 6 Paths, reincarnation, and karma. Even if an invincible sage arrived, without Xiaoping's permission, it would be impossible to remove it. Bardas wanted to recover his power as an ancient dragon, but it was already wishful thinking. When the bandit dragons from the Blackwind stronghold saw their boss in such a miserable state, being taught a lesson by a thunder retribution realm ancient dragon, their hair stood on end, and their bodies trembled. At this moment, they finally remembered that they were no longer the high and mighty Saint-tier dragons. They were merely dragons that had lost all their strength, not even a strand of hair. Although these Thunder Retribution Realm ancient dragons could kill a group of them with a single breath at their peak, they were just ants in this place. They had no power to resist at all. They couldn't help but look at the 3 wily dragons beside them, hoping to find a way. But Herbert and the other 2 dragons looked down as if they didn't see anything, as if they didn't know these dragons at all. For them, it was already good enough that they didn't get into trouble. Otherwise, they might not even have dinner tonight if these peerless supervisors found an excuse. Although it was fine if they didn't eat for hundreds of years at their peak. After their power was sealed, they were actually weaker than ordinary dragons. Like mortals, they would be hungry every day. The feeling of hunger was simply so painful that they wanted to die. They were unwilling to accept it anymore. All right, line up one by one and follow me to the farmland. Don't embarrass me, or you'll all have to bear the consequences today. Seeing the group of dragons fear, the Fae became even more arrogant. Yes, these bandit dragons were very unwilling, but they had no other choice. They had no choice but to lower their heads under the eaves. As ordinary dragons, they were actually able to resist the other party. All of them followed him obediently and obeyed his orders. Among them, there were also a few unruly bandit dragons who tried to resist, but they were also discovered by Fae, Nine-Headed Lion, and Baleful Crow Demon Bird. After being taught a lesson, all of them became extremely obedient. As the saying goes, evil people need to be tortured by evil people. Not bad. It seems like letting these primordial descendants be supervisors was the right choice. The Green Ox also sensed this scene and felt very satisfied. Originally, it wanted to personally manage the group of slave dragons, but after careful consideration, it decided to hand it over to the group of primordial species. They were slaves to begin with. If they became overseers, they would definitely work harder to manage these slaves. This was why traders were sometimes fiercer than their enemies. Clearly, this group of giant dragons was also obediently managed by the primordial species. A spiritual field. The three primordial species, Fae, Baleful Crow Demon Bird, and Nine-Headed Lion, were leisurely supervising the group of giant dragons. They shouted loudly and frequently scolded the group of giant dragons, causing them to jump up and down in anger, but they could do nothing about it. Haha, the feeling of being a supervisor is so great. Previously, those giant dragons were so arrogant, and even looked down on us, the primordial species. Now they are still obedient. Faye said proudly, but how did these giant dragons appear? Didn't they say that the giant dragons had long been extinct in the universe, and wouldn't appear easily? How did that guy find them? Baleful Crow Demon Bird said with a little doubt. Previously, I asked these giant dragons. It seems that they are all giant dragons from the dragon world. Nine-Headed Lion said in a deep voice. Damn, this bastard actually went to the dragon world to cause trouble, and even captured a group of giant dragons as slaves. Isn't he afraid of piercing the sky? If the dragon race knows about this, he will definitely be in serious trouble. Faye could not help but shiver for a while. Everyone knew how terrifying the dragon race was. It was one of the top races in the universe. If the dragon race came out in full force, they would definitely destroy the universe. That fellow is truly audacious. There is nothing he can't do. Besides, these are not ordinary dragons. They are all dragons that have reached the sempiternal realm, at the very least. In fact, some of them are even primordial dragons that have comprehended the laws of time. Nine-Headed Lion said, Medial dragons? Hearing this, both Faye and Baleful Crow Demon Bird swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and could not help but shiver. Even among the primordial species, this kind of strength was equivalent to the combat power of an ancestor. According to their previous status, they were not even qualified to meet. But now, they were extremely arrogant towards these saint-tier giant dragons, beating and scolding them. Just thinking about it made them feel excited. This was like a beggar beating up a prince. It was really unbelievable. Damn, this Wuxia is really becoming more and more monstrous. He can even easily capture medial dragons. Those saint-tier dragons are like ants to him. How strong is he now? Faye knew that Wuxia was not even a sage in the past. At most, he was on par with them. But now, only a short period of time had passed, and he could actually capture medial dragons as his slaves. If this matter were to spread, it would definitely shock the entire universe. Not only did he capture them, but he can also completely seal the power of these giant dragons and reduce them to ordinary dragons. This kind of method is simply unheard of. It seems that we will not be able to escape in this lifetime. Baleful Crow Demon Bird originally wanted to find an opportunity to leave this prison-like world. But now that Wuxia was getting stronger and stronger, they had even less of a chance. We don't have to leave. Maybe we can still curry favor with that human and find an opportunity to advance to the sage level. Nine-headed lion's eyes flickered. Do you still have any dignity as a primordial species? How dare you still want to curry favor with that human? Faye said disdainfully. Dignity is nothing. Can it make me an immortal and indestructible sage? If this goes on, we will at most die after living for a few 100,000 years. We will still be a pile of dust in the universe. The nine-headed lion sneered. Now that there is such a big golden coattail, instead of hugging it, we want to run away. Isn't that stupid? Moreover, it is not shameful to submit to such an expert. Hearing this, the two primordial species, Fae and baleful crow demon bird, were speechless. For primordial species, there was only one main rule, and that was the strong were respected. If it was the previous Wu Wudi, he would not be qualified to make them recognize him as their master. However, the current Wu Wudi had exceeded their imagination and become a super expert in the universe. It was not shameful to submit to such a person. In fact, countless weak races in the universe wanted to seek the protection of sages, but they could not do so. Chapter 2432. Several days later, led by the fate dragon Betty, Xiaoping finally arrived at White Dragon City after a long journey. A majestic white city appeared in front of him. It had towering walls and was bustling with activity. Countless dragons were going in and out of the city. From afar, the city looked like a white palace from a fairy tale, exuding an extraordinary charm. The Dragon of Destiny, Betty, and the other young dragons exclaimed in surprise as they widened their eyes. It seemed like they had never seen such a bustling city before. All of them were like country bumpkins. Just as Xiaoping was about to enter White Dragon City, he suddenly sensed a telepathic message. It seemed that Yi Mengyao had woken up from her closed-door cultivation for a long time and was looking for him. With a whoosh, he immediately formed a clone and entered the space of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers, arriving in front of Yi Mengyao. After consuming the immortal fruit, Yi Mengyao's injuries had all healed. Even her magic power had improved by leaps and bounds, reaching the peak of the sempiternal realm middle stage. Moreover, she would probably reach the peak of the sempiternal realm soon. The energy contained in the immortal fruit was definitely a wondrous fruit that one could only dream of. It seems that your injuries have recovered well. Xiaoping nodded. It's all thanks to your immortal fruit. As expected of a wondrous fruit, the immortal energy it contains is simply unimaginable. If you relied on hard cultivation, you might not be able to reach this level even after tens of millions of years. Yi Mengyao sighed. But just by eating one of these fruits, it actually saved me so many years of bitter cultivation. This is really unimaginable. She finally understood why sempiternal realm sages would often venture into secret realms in the universe. Just cultivating alone would take a lot of time and effort. However, if one went on an adventure and obtained a fortuitous encounter, they would immediately improve by leaps and bounds, just like how she had obtained the immortal fruit and spatial fruit from Xiaoping. When she reached the peak of the immortal realm and consumed another spatial fruit, there was a high chance that she would reach the near ancient realm sages and completely comprehend the laws of space. By the way, why couldn't I find you in this world? Where did you go? Yi Mengyao asked curiously. I've reached the dragon realm. Xiaoping said. It can't be. You really arrived in the dragon realm, and you weren't discovered by the old antiques of the dragon realm? Yi Mengyao was extremely shocked when she heard this. She didn't dare to believe what she had just heard. There had been some almighty beings from the human race who had tried to enter the dragon realm in the past, but all of them had been driven away by the patriarchs of the dragon realm, and some of them had even almost died at their hands. One could imagine how difficult it was to sneak into the dragon world. From ancient times until now, she had never heard of such a thing. Perhaps she was ignorant, but no matter what, it was an incredible thing. Of course it's true. You can totally leave the space of the mountain river Pearl and come to the dragon realm to take a look. Xiaoping smiled. Can we really go to the dragon world? Hearing this, Yi Mengyao's beautiful eyes lit up. In fact, She was also very curious about the dragon realm. After all, it was a legendary world that contained endless mysteries. Not many people in the entire universe could enter it. If there was a chance, she would definitely not miss it. But I'm a human, and there are dragons everywhere in the dragon world. Will my identity be in big trouble? Yi Mingyao frowned. She was worried that her identity might be exposed. In fact, it was the same principle in the human world. If a dragon appeared in the human world, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. And if a human appeared in the dragon realm, it would definitely arouse the curiosity of many dragons. This was like a firefly in the dark. It was impossible to ignore. That's not a problem. I can let you have the power and aura of a dragon. I guarantee that no dragon will be able to discover your true body. Xiaoping touched his chin. He grabbed with his hand and immediately activated the immemorial heavenly dragon talisman on his body. In an instant, a heavenly dragon talisman was condensed, emitting a dark cloud of dragon might and energy. With a boom, the golden heavenly dragon talisman immediately entered Yi Mingyao's body. What? Yi Mingyao's beautiful eyes immediately widened. She was shocked to find that her body had undergone earth-shaking changes. From the depths of her body, waves of immemorial heavenly dragon energy surged out, as if even her blood had merged with the blood of the heavenly dragon. Her body was strengthening at a geometrical speed, as though she had transformed into the body of a heavenly dragon. At the same time, 2 curved dragon horns appeared on her head. Even her pupils had transformed into the vertical pupils of a heavenly dragon. Even if the primordial sages of the dragon race appeared in this place, they would not be able to detect Yi Mingyao's true body. In fact, this was one of the innate abilities of the immemorial heavenly dragon talisman. It could condense 3,000 immemorial heavenly dragon talismans and fuse them into the bodies of countless living beings, giving them the bloodline, strength, and aura of the immemorial heavenly dragon. As long as other living beings had the immemorial heavenly dragon talisman in their bodies, they could transform into a dragon. Xiaoping had relied on the power of the immemorial heavenly dragon talisman to hide from the prying eyes of the other dragons, as well as the monitoring of the dragon realm's will. Alright, now that you have the body of a dragon, you can appear in the dragon realm. There's no need to worry about being monitored by the dragon realm's will. Xiaoping was very satisfied with his means. Such means are indeed impressive. Yi Mingyao was shocked. She finally understood why Xiaoping could easily sneak into the dragon realm. Just this method alone was enough to hide from the dragon race's ancestors. If she hadn't experienced it herself, she probably wouldn't have imagined that there was a way to transform others into heavenly dragons. Such a change could not be seen through even by sages. Oh right, there's something I need to tell you. In order to avoid my identity being exposed in this world, I used a fake name, Master Potato. Don't be silly and say my real name. Xiaoping reminded. Master Potato. Yi Mingyao looked at Xiaoping suspiciously. Why did this guy use a fake name all day? Could it be that he did something bad not long after coming to the dragon realm, and was worried about being chased by the dragon race's ancestors? To be honest, it was not like Xiaoping not to cause trouble. Whoosh! Without waiting for her to think too much, Xiaoping waved his hand and produced a spatial fluctuation. Yi Mingyao's figure flashed and immediately left the space of the mountain river Pearl and appeared on the land of the dragon realm. Wow, female dragon, there's an unfamiliar adult female dragon here. Fate Dragon Betty immediately noticed Yi Mingyao and couldn't help but yell, revealing a hostile look. The other young dragons were also very curious. They didn't know where this female dragon came from. Invisible Dragon Kalita blinked her eyes. She could sense that this female dragon appeared from Xiaoping's body. It seemed to have opened some powerful spatial treasure. Therefore, she was not worried that this female dragon was her enemy. Chapter 2433. Master Potato, where did you abduct so many young dragons? As soon as she arrived in the dragon realm, Yi Mingyao immediately saw a group of little lowly dragons and little boy dragons around her. The corner of her mouth couldn't help but twitch. She had a bad feeling in her heart. How long has this bastard been in the dragon realm? He actually abducted a group of young dragons. She also suddenly remembered the first time she met this bastard. This guy even used a fake name, Wuwudi. He cheated her sister and a group of children of money. It was simply infuriating. Now this guy wants to do the same thing again. The question is, where did he abduct so many young dragons? Don't their parents care about him? What abduction? These young dragons were all rescued by me. Xiaoping recounted what had happened. So that's how it is. It seems that I really misunderstood you. I didn't expect you to be a dragon with a little conscience. Yi Mingyao nodded. What do you mean you didn't expect me to be a dragon with a little conscience? In your eyes, what am I? Xiaoping felt that Yi Mingyao might have a great misunderstanding about him. Yi Mingyao felt that she didn't want to speak. Didn't she know what this guy did? Female dragon. What is your relationship with this adult dragon? Are you the concubine of this adult dragon? At this time, Fate Dragon Betty could see that this female dragon should not be an enemy, but the adult dragon's woman. That's right, Betty, you are very smart and have a good eye. She is indeed one of my concubines. Xiaoping hugged Yi Mingyao's slender waist and said, Yi Mingyao's pretty face turned red, but she couldn't refute because if she wanted to walk in the dragon realm, she needed a more reasonable identity. This couldn't be separated from Xiaoping's help. Scum dragon, you are actually one of the concubines. How many female dragons have you married? Fate Dragon Betty looked at Xiaoping with disdain. Children don't care so much. Go play. Xiaoping waved his hand. Fate Dragon Betty rolled her eyes and said, If you tell me, I can give you a dragon crystal. If you say one, I will give you a dragon crystal. What do you think? Go away. Do I look like a dragon that is lacking tens of thousands of dragon crystals? Xiaoping chuckled to show that he was rich and overbearing. Scum dragon. Fate Dragon Betty, Memory Dragon Mabel, Formless Dragon Kalita, Cloud Dream Dragon Tadish, and the other female dragons all looked at Xiaoping with disdain, as though they were looking at a cockroach on the ground. As for the gluttonous dragon Austin, the time dragon Caesar, the slow dragon Whales, and the other male dragons, they all looked at Xiaoping with admiration, as if he was their idol. Alright, stop arguing. Let's hurry into White Dragon City. I'm starving. Xiaoping waved his hand, and immediately led the group of dragon whelps into White Dragon City. It was easy to enter White Dragon City. There was no need to verify one's identity. All one had to do was pay a dragon crystal and register one's identity. Then one could enter and leave White Dragon City at will. White Dragon City was quite prosperous, and all sorts of antique shops appeared. They sold medicinal pills and spirit medicines that could only be found in the dragon world. And there were also many restaurants that sold dragon race delicacies. There were also many different kinds of dragons and subdragons on the streets. However, they were all in human form, with dragon horns on their heads. After all, if they were in their true form, each of them would be extremely huge. Not many cities would be able to contain them. For convenience, they all chose to transform. The technology here is quite advanced. Xiaoping glanced around and found that there were many maglev trains, maglev cars, spaceships, and other cosmic technologies around White Dragon City. There were also all sorts of engineering robots building walls and shops. It was full of sci-fi. He even found that many dragons had logged into the virtual network and seemed to be able to communicate over long distances. Although the dragon race rarely comes into contact with the outside world, it's not like they don't. Yi Mingyao spoke with her divine sense, telling him what she knew. It's said that the dragon race is very interested in the technology of humans and machines, so they use many precious dragon race resources in exchange for all sorts of technology. Although they seem very closed off and like to shut themselves off from the world, in reality, their pursuit of new technology is no less than ours. Of course, there's also a rumor. It's said that the dragon race was very closed back then and didn't want to come into contact with the outside world. However, the famous dragon race scientist Titania is said to be one of the smartest beings in the universe. She's very interested in these things and tried her best to import them. She spent billions of years mastering all kinds of top biological technology, material technology, intelligent technology, and so on. Titania. Xiaoping's expression was strange. He realized that many things in the universe were related to this mad scientist, and the dragon realm was also greatly affected by Titania. Even though she was wanted by the entire universe, her influence did not decrease at all. However, although science and technology were hard to come by, it wasn't too difficult for the highly intelligent WRMS to learn it if they really wanted to. After all, they had a long lifespan and had plenty of time to learn this kind of knowledge. If 1 year was not enough, they would learn 10 years. If 10 years was not enough, they would learn 100 years. If 100 years was not enough, they would learn 10,000 years. In short, with the accumulation of time, their technology could reach an extremely high level. If you really want to understand the Dragon Realm thoroughly, you need to log into the Dragon Realm's virtual network. There will definitely be a lot of information about the Dragon Realm on the network. Yi Mingyao's beautiful eyes flashed with incomparable enthusiasm. It's best for us to buy the virtual network equipment of the Dragon Realm, so that we can understand this world more easily. However, the Dragon Realm is a complete world, and definitely has its own currency system. Our currency can't be used here. I wonder if you have any way to solve this. She looked at Xiaoping eagerly. Don't worry, I don't have much else, but I have a lot of dragon crystals on me. Xiaoping patted his chest. He had just robbed the Black Wind stronghold, and robbed this famous bandit group. He had taken tens of millions of dragon crystals from their treasure vault. Just these dragon crystals alone were enough for him to live a luxurious life in the Dragon Realm. It would not be a problem for him to be a local tycoon. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. It's almost dark. After saying this, Yi Mingyao immediately dragged Xiaoping to a nearby shop that sold virtual network equipment. She wanted to understand the world of the Dragon Realm as soon as possible. Destiny Dragon Betty and the other young dragons also looked at each other excitedly, because they had long been interested in this famous virtual network equipment, but they had never been able to get it. Chapter 2434. In a shop selling virtual reality equipment in White Dragon City, Xiaoping, Yi Mingyao, Betty, and the other young dragons entered the shop. Wow! Is this the place that sells virtual reality equipment? I heard that you can enter the virtual world with this equipment. It's like a second dragon world. Yeah, that's right. Apart from not dying, the virtual world is no different from the real world. It's really amazing, but I've never been there. Betty and the other young dragons were curious. They were all orphan dragons who had been captured by these dragon dealers at a young age. They were extremely poor and naturally had no chance of obtaining these virtual reality equipment. They looked around the shop curiously, and even wanted to reach out to touch the equipment. Little brat, don't touch it. You can't afford to pay for it if you break it. Just then, a chubby middle-aged golden dragon walked out of the shop. He glared at Betty and the other young dragons, as if telling them not to enter his shop. You! Betty and the other young dragons glared at the shop owner angrily. He was obviously looking down on them. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a rich dragon before? I can tell that you can't afford virtual reality equipment. You only know how to wander around the shop all day and ruin my business. The middle-aged golden dragon sneered. Before the middle-aged golden dragon could finish speaking, Xiaoping immediately took out a fist-sized dragon crystal and smashed it on the table. I don't know if I'm a rich dragon, but I can buy the virtual reality equipment here. If you don't want to do business, I can buy it elsewhere. He looked at the middle-aged golden dragon calmly. 100 dragon crystals. Seeing the fist-sized dragon crystal, the middle-aged golden dragon's eyes almost popped out, revealing a greedy look. In fact, dragon crystals were also divided into different sizes. They represented 1 dragon crystal, 5 dragon crystals, 10 dragon crystals, 50 dragon crystals, and 100 dragon crystals. These numbers formed the currency of the dragon world. It was similar to the denomination of human paper money. The dragon crystal that Xiaoping took out was obviously worth 100 dragon crystals. One had to know that a dragon crystal was enough for an ordinary family of 3 to live for a few months. Hence, 100 dragon crystals was considered a relatively large number for an ordinary dragon. Of course, it was just a drop in the ocean for a saint-tier dragon. Sir, I was just joking. I was just joking. I really had eyes but failed to recognize MT Tai. Please forgive me. I hope you can forgive me. The middle-aged golden dragon immediately admitted defeat. He looked like a pug, and tried to curry favor with Long Jing. No matter how arrogant he was, he could not go against Long Jing. Xiaoping waved his hand and said to the middle-aged golden dragon, "Cut the crap. Bring out the best virtual equipment in your shop immediately. Don't bring out those pieces of scrap metal." Yes, yes. The middle-aged golden dragon's smile became even more amiable. There was no doubt that this was a big customer. He quickly entered the shop and took out the best virtual equipment. "Sir, this is the best virtual equipment in our shop, the smart bracelet. It's made of top-grade dragon gold and has indestructible properties. Ordinary forces won't be able to harm it at all. Of course, this is only its most ordinary feature. The important thing is that it has a fast network speed. It can enter the virtual world without any delay, and the signal is excellent. Even if you enter a desolate place without dragon smoke, you can still receive network signals. It can even accept electricity, solar energy, wind energy, and even dragon power to charge it. It's basically on standby all day, unlike other virtual equipment that needs to be charged all the time. Moreover, it's very small and can be carried around with you. It can be used anywhere. This is the best smart virtual equipment in the entire dragon realm. It's definitely suitable for your identity. Cut the crap. How much is it?" Xiaoping waved his hand. 5 dragon crystals each. The middle-aged golden dragon extended 4 fingers. This price was indeed very expensive. It was equivalent to more than a year's income for an ordinary dragon. It could be considered a luxury. "All right, give me 10 of them," Xiaoping immediately said. He counted carefully, including himself, Yi Mengyao, and a few young dragons. He needed about 10 virtual equipment. Moreover, these 10 virtual equipment weren't expensive either. They only cost 45 dragon crystals. Yes, yes, yes. Hearing this, the middle-aged golden dragon was extremely excited. He quickly took out 10 such smart bracelets from the shop. "My change." With a smack, Xiaoping slammed the 100 dragon crystals he had on him on the table. The middle-aged golden dragon revealed a distressed expression. With a clatter, he took out 100 dragon crystals worth each from the drawer and piled them on the table. He then divided these dragon crystals into 5 dragon crystals each. After counting 10, he finally heaved a sigh of relief and took out the remaining 55 dragon crystals. That's right. That's right. I should get back your 55 dragon crystals." The middle-aged golden dragon heaved a sigh of relief with a satisfied look on his face. "What are they doing?" The corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched. He was speechless. It was just change. Did they have to make such a big fuss? "I heard that most dragons aren't good at math. They don't even know the multiplication formula, so don't make a fuss." Yi Mengyao sent a voice transmission with her divine sense. "There's such a thing." Xiaoping rubbed his chin. He took the 55 dragon crystals from the boss, and suddenly seemed to have thought of something. He patted his head and said, "By the way, boss, I almost forgot. In fact, I happen to have 45 dragon crystals on me. I'll give them to you now. You don't need to give me the change. Just return these 100 dragon crystals to me." "What?" Hearing this, the middle-aged golden dragon was immediately dumbfounded. Circles seemed to appear in his eyes. What does this mean? It had already taken him a lot of effort to calculate 55 dragon crystals just now. Now this was happening again. "What's wrong, boss? I gave you 45 dragon crystals, and you returned me 100 dragon crystals. Isn't this a clear deal? What else do I need to consider?" Xiaoping said impatiently. "That's right, that's indeed the case." The middle-aged golden dragon couldn't help but nod as he came to a sudden realization. This kid had given him 45 dragon crystals, and he had returned 100 dragon crystals to the other party. This was a clean bill of goods and money, and he didn't have to work so hard to calculate. Thinking of this, he took out 100 dragon crystals and returned them to Xiaoping. Xia Ping took the 100 dragon crystals and said casually, "All right, it's been a pleasure working with you. If I still want to buy something next time, I'll definitely come back to visit you, boss." "You're welcome. I hope you'll take care of me in the future." The middle-aged golden dragon was overjoyed. "All right, goodbye then." Xia Ping waved his hand and left with the Dragon of Destiny, Betty, and the other young dragons with the virtual equipment. Seeing this scene, the corner of Yi Mingyao's mouth twitched. She looked at the middle-aged golden dragon with pity, as if she was looking at an idiot, but she did not say anything. She could only lament that Xia Ping was definitely a born liar. This boss had been cheated, and was still helping the person pay. The middle-aged golden dragon stood in the shop for a long time. He felt as if he had lost something, but he could not understand what it was. Chapter 2435. A day later, Xia Ping wandered around White Dragon City and felt that he might need to stay there for a long time. Thus, he bought a villa in a corner of White Dragon City. It was worth 10,000 dragon crystals. This was a place for him to settle down in the dragon realm. Compared to the wealth he had obtained from the Blackwind stronghold, these dragon crystals were nothing more than a drop in the ocean. They were nothing. Oh, I suddenly thought of something. Yi Mingyao looked at Xia Ping and gave her own suggestion. "Betty and the others are too young. It's not suitable for them to run around. They should be sent to school. Otherwise they will become illiterate dragons, not knowing anything." She felt that these dragon whelps should go to school at their age. "What? Go to school? No, I won't go to school even if you beat me to death. Just give up." When the fate dragon Betty heard these words, her eyes were very sharp. She immediately jumped out and glared at Yi Mingyao. "Hee, evil female dragon. I knew you weren't a good dragon. How dare you make such a vicious suggestion? Did I eat your rice or dig your ancestors' graves? Why are you treating us like this?" Misty Dragon Tatish bared her fangs and claws in anger. "That's right. We won't go to school." "What bullshit school? It's not fun at all." "That's right. Those teachers and students are all bad dragons. None of them are good. If we go to school, we might as well sleep at home." "That's right. Sleeping is what we dragons should learn. How can we have the energy to study if we don't get enough sleep?" The group of dragon whelps glared at Yi Mingyao and shouted, protesting against sending them to school. Yi Mingyao's mouth twitched. She was speechless. She had only suggested sending them to school, yet they were so indignant as if she was a bad person. Just how much did these dragon whelps hate going to school? All right. Let's put this aside for now. Let's wait until they're interested." Xia Ping waved his hand. Dragons were completely different from humans. First of all, dragons had a much longer lifespan than humans. Even if they didn't cultivate, they could easily live for tens of thousands of years. If they cultivated, they could live for tens of millions of years. Some extremely talented dragons could even become saint-tier dragons when they reached adulthood. That was why dragons could not be judged by human standards. After all, the lifespan of humans was too short. If they did not seize the time to learn, their entire lives might be over. Haha, great, an adult dragon. I knew an adult dragon was a good dragon, unlike this bad female dragon who always comes up with bad ideas. That's right. The Dragon of Destiny, Betty, and the other dragon whelps were extremely excited. As long as Xia Ping did not send them to the school that was like a prison, they would be fine. Yi Mingyao was speechless. She didn't expect herself to become a bad dragon all of a sudden. However, she might have taken it for granted and treated these young dragons as ordinary human children. At night, after eating and drinking their fill, the dragon whelps and Yi Mingyao returned to their rooms. Xia Ping returned to the master bedroom of the villa and took out the smart bracelet he bought today. It was a device that could log into the Dragon Realm's virtual reality network. He knew that the Dragon Realm's virtual network was different from the human universe's virtual network. It was just a local area network, a virtual network system that was only provided for the dragons of the Dragon Realm to use. Outsiders could not log in. It was a bit like the Wuxia network and the United States network in his previous life. Both were independent of each other, and did not interfere with each other. Moreover, the Dragon Realm's virtual network was also very relaxed. It was not as strict as humans. One needed to verify one's true identity. As long as one created an account, one could log in even if one used a fake name. Thinking of this, Xiaoping did not hesitate and immediately verified his identity information. He created his virtual network identity, Master Potato, and then entered the Dragon Realm's virtual network. Boom! In the next second, he found that his soul consciousness immediately entered the Dragon Realm's virtual network. He appeared in a huge city that was bustling with traffic everywhere. It could be said that this virtual city seemed to be more than 100 times livelier than White Dragon City. In fact, because of the virtual network, even if they came from all over the Dragon Realm, they could instantly gather together. The dragons that appeared in this city might not necessarily be in White Dragon City. It was also possible that one lived in the northern part of the Dragon Realm and the other in the southern part. That was why the virtual network was so attractive to many dragons. It simply shortened the distance between each other and truly realized how close they were to each other. As soon as such technology appeared, it immediately became popular in the entire Dragon Realm. Until now, they could not leave the network. Even some dragons that liked to sleep for hundreds or thousands of years did not sleep at all. They liked to wander around in the virtual network. At this moment, a huge dragon on the street shouted, "Good news! Good news! The world #1 martial arts competition, which is held once every 10 years in tyrannical Dragon City, is about to begin. The prize for the champion is 10 million dragon crystals. If you want to make money and make a name for yourself, don't miss this chance." Hearing this, all the dragons on the street were shocked. What? The martial arts competition is about to begin? Time flies. I didn't expect that 10 years would pass in the blink of an eye. The prize for the champion this time is 10 million dragon crystals. If we can become the champion, we can become rich overnight. But there are too many experts participating in the martial arts competition. Even if we participate, we can't win the championship. Who knows? Maybe we are lucky enough to win the championship. That's right. Even if we can't win the championship, we can still fight with other dragons. How can there be such a good thing? Sign up. Sign up now. All the dragons were so excited that they swarmed up. Martial arts competition. Xiaoping squinted. He suddenly recalled the memories of the few ancient dragons. It seemed that all kinds of martial arts competitions were popular in the Dragon Realm. They were used to vent the dragon's exuberant energy. Anyway, they would not die fighting in the virtual network world. Therefore, they could fight without any qualms. Often, such battles would be extremely bloody and cruel. But it was also because of this that countless dragons were attracted to participate. Once anyone became the champion of the martial arts competition, they would immediately receive countless honors and great wealth. It was a great opportunity for ordinary dragons to rise to the top. Interesting. Martial arts competition? This is a great opportunity to make a name for myself. Xiaoping rubbed his chin, his eyes sparkling. He had thought of a way to earn a lot of dragon crystals. But first, he had to make a name for himself. This martial arts competition was obviously a great opportunity that he could not miss. Chapter 2436. It didn't take long for Xiaoping to understand the rules of the tournament. The purpose of this conference was purely to compare martial arts combat techniques, as well as their understanding and comprehension of martial arts. Therefore, everyone's virtual figures in the virtual world had the same physical fitness, strength, speed, endurance, and recovery. There was no difference between them. Therefore, all the dragons were on the same level. There was no need to worry about the special abilities of other dragons, or the freakish physical quality of some dragons. Even so, the tournament was still divided into two levels. One was for ordinary dragons, and the other was for dragons below the sempiternal realm. The other was for sacred dragons, which included dragons at the sempiternal realm and above. This was because even if their physical quality was the same, the difference between sacred dragons and non-sacred dragons was too great. It couldn't be measured with words. First, there was the difference in thinking speed. After reaching the sempiternal realm, one's thinking speed was at least 100 times faster than tribulation lightning beings. In other words, if a tribulation lightning being thought for a second, an immortal saint would have thought for 100 seconds. One could imagine that in the eyes of an immortal saint, a tribulation lightning being's attack had no secrets. He could completely simulate his opponent's movements, and even predict his opponent's next attack. Therefore, the two could not compete on the same level. It was too much of a bully. Of course, the Sacred Dragons matches were the most watched in this tournament. After all, this was one of the few opportunities to watch Sacred Dragons fight. The difference between the two was like a juvenile group and an adult group. It was very simple to register for the tournament. All one needed to do was pay a registration fee of 1 dragon crystal. Interesting. I wonder who my opponents will be in this tournament. Xiaoping clenched his fists. His blood was boiling. It had been a long time since he had enjoyed such a pure battle. Putting aside all external conditions, it was just a battle of martial arts techniques. The process of the martial arts tournament was very simple. All the registered holy dragons would be divided into 108 groups. The sacred dragons in each group would be randomly selected to fight. If they won, they would receive 1 point. If they lost, they would receive 0 points. After fighting for 7 days and 7 nights, the sacred dragon with the highest points would be qualified to participate. Basically, every sacred dragon in the group would have a chance to fight. It could be said that there were countless holy dragons and experts in a group, but only one of them could win. One could imagine how difficult it was to win the right to participate in the group competition. After winning the group stage, the 108 holy dragons would be placed in another battle. The last one to survive would be the champion of this martial arts tournament. The rules of this martial arts competition were very simple and direct. There weren't too many restrictions. I must become the champion of this martial arts tournament. Xiaoping was very confident. Even though their physical fitness was the same, his martial arts attainment was definitely far superior to these holy dragons. Just the many secret techniques he had mastered were not something these holy dragons could compare to. Moreover, his soul power was extremely strong. Even though he was only a near ancient realm saint, the soul power of an ordinary ancient realm saint was almost on par with his. Unless a holy dragon of the invincible realm personally participated in the martial arts competition this time, no holy dragon could stop him. Moreover, the invincible realm holy dragon was either traveling around the world or in closed-door training. How could he have time to participate in such a competition? So he was not worried about anything. In the blink of an eye, 7 days and 7 nights had passed. The martial arts competition in Balong City was in full swing. It almost became a huge ceremony, attracting the attention of countless giant dragons. After tea and dinner, they were basically discussing the martial arts competition. And as countless holy dragons fought, the name Master Mateto went from unknown to famous, and then to famous. Gradually, most of the giant dragons in Balong City knew him. What the hell? What kind of dragon is this Master Mateto? How can he be so terrifying? After fighting for 7 days and 7 nights, 3,976 battles, there was almost no time to rest. But he did not lose a single battle and maintained a complete victory record. Some giant dragons exclaimed in disbelief. Among the 108 groups, countless holy dragons fought each other. Even if there were extremely powerful holy dragons, because of the long battle, they could not maintain a complete victory record. Occasionally, a mistake could lead to being killed by other holy dragons. But this Master Mateto was different. He was simply a monster. In 3,976 battles, he did not lose a single battle and maintained a complete victory record. It was conceivable that this matter had completely shocked Balong City and attracted the attention of many holy dragons. Everyone was inquiring about the news of Master Mateto. It's not as simple as a complete victory. You didn't see the situation of Master Mateto's battles. In every battle, he almost occupied an overwhelming advantage. Basically, he killed his opponents in seconds. Even the more powerful holy dragons could only resist 2 or 3 moves. To be honest, if I didn't trust the virtual system network of our dragon realm, and the administrator personally came out to guarantee it, and check it over and over again, I would have thought that Master Mateto cheated. He is simply a monster. Some giant dragons sighed. It's really too terrifying. Master Mateto almost used his strength to the peak state. One punch burst out 10 times, 100 times the strength of his body. This kind of power exertion skill is extraordinary. I have never seen it before. His speed is also quite amazing. How did he display such a terrible speed? Obviously, everyone has the same physical quality. It's really amazing. Not only is his power exertion skill powerful, but his combat awareness is also very terrifying. It almost reached the realm of the cicada premonition before the autumn wind moves. It seems that he can predict the future. Often before the enemy moves, he comes to the direction of the enemy's attack and explodes them with one punch. It is estimated that even in reality, this Master Mateto must be a real martial arts master, tyrannical and unparalleled. Indeed, in this group, Master Mateto will definitely advance. The other holy dragons have no chance. In this martial arts competition, Master Mateto is probably the favorite to win. The favorite is indeed the favorite, but in this way, he will definitely become a thorn in the eyes of other holy dragons, and will be targeted by all the holy dragons. Hehe, in this case, isn't the competition more exciting? Many giant dragons were talking about it. At first, they did not care about this nobody Master Mateto. They only paid attention to those powerful holy dragons who had long been famous. But as the competition went on, this Master Mateto turned out to be a super dark horse. He beat the other famous holy dragons without any power to fight back, which completely shocked the whole Balong city. Chapter 2437. It's over. At that moment, Xiaoping ended his last group match. He saw his opponent, an ordinary holy dragon, explode with a single punch. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Then, he was announced as the first in his group, and officially earned the right to participate in the tournament. Out of the 108 groups, he was the fastest to earn the right to participate. The other groups were still in the midst of tough matches, and the battles were intense. Not a bad experience. Xiaoping smiled. He had gone through almost 4,000 battles, and they were all holy dragons of the same level. This had given him great benefits and rewards. To be honest, he had been too reliant on his treasures and bloodline power, and had neglected his own battle techniques and accomplishments. In this tournament, however, he had completely thrown away all his advantages. Everyone's physique was the same, and it was just a competition of battle techniques and awareness. This made him pick up the battle techniques and experience that he had lost for a long time. It was as if the battle memories deep in his blood had suddenly surged to his mind. He had thoroughly mastered all of his battle techniques and mystiques, and seemed to have reached a state of fine detail. At that moment, he was more familiar with his body than ever before, and he was familiar with every drop of power in his body. He felt that after going through 4,000 battles, the bottleneck of his body seemed to have loosened quite a bit. The magic power deep in his body was rapidly increasing, and his understanding of spatial laws had also become more profound. It seemed that he was not far from the late ancient realm, But this battle was so easy because of the Demon Heart Seal. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. The so-called Demon Heart Seal was a mystique he had obtained from the Hell's Heavenly Heart Demon. It could read people's minds and sense their emotions. This was originally just a support ability, but during the course of a battle, it could unleash shocking effects. Being able to easily sense his enemy's emotions meant that he could easily control his enemy's attack patterns, thoughts, and intentions. It was as if he could predict his enemy's every move and foresee the future. One could imagine that this alone gave him a great advantage in the course of a battle. Often, his enemy would not even know what was going on before he blew them up with one punch. Of course, in addition to the Demon Heart Seal, his bloodline divine ability, the Infernal Golden Crow Claw, was also a rather powerful divine ability. Even if he didn't use his bloodline to activate this divine ability, it was still one of the best divine abilities in the world, just by relying on his own skills. Just by using a bit of the Infernal Golden Crow Claw's technique and power, he could instantly unleash 108 times the power of his body. This was practically the limit of magic power techniques, as well as the limit of the laws of the universe. Ordinary holy dragons would be considered geniuses if they could unleash dozens of times their strength when using these martial arts moves. However, Xiaoping was able to unleash 108 times his strength. It was simply heaven-defying. There was also the Infernal Golden Crow wings on his body. This was a rather powerful speed god art. He used his magic power to condense a pair of wings on his body. Many void runes appeared on the wings, allowing his body to easily sense spatial fluctuations. One could imagine that his speed was unbelievably fast with the Golden Crow of Hell's wings. In a flash, he could appear in front of his enemies and kill them. In addition, the 7 Malice Dragon Roar, Hell Demon Suppression Spear, Great Yin Yang Tablet Breaking Hand, Yin Yang Book of Yin Yang, and so on could all give him extremely powerful combat power, enough to sweep away everything. Alright, as long as tomorrow is over, I'll be able to sweep away this group of holy dragons and become the champion of the martial arts tournament. My name will be known throughout Tyrannical Dragon City. By then, wouldn't it be a piece of cake to earn dragon crystals? Xiaoping touched his chin. For someone who came from Earth, no one knew better than him that fame was money. However, he was still not in a hurry. He sat cross-legged and cultivated quietly comprehending the constantly skyrocketing power in his body. It was as if countless laws of the universe were operating in the void around him, and countless mysteries of the laws were pouring into the depths of his sea of consciousness. This battle had helped him a lot in his cultivation. At this time, on the other side, the matches of the other 107 groups of holy dragons had finally ended. The winners and losers had been decided, and the powerful holy dragons had won the right to participate in the competition. Some of the holy dragons who were already familiar with each other took the opportunity to gather together and discuss something in secret. Have you guys heard of the name Master Potato recently? A holy dragon opened his mouth. Of course I have. This kid is in the limelight, and his name has already spread throughout Tyrannical Dragon City. Many giant dragons think that this kid is likely to be the champion of this martial arts tournament. However, this is also a matter of course. After all, he passed the group stage with a complete victory record. Not many people here can do this. A holy dragon sneered. Hee hee. I don't know where this country dragon came from. How dare he come to steal our limelight? He really doesn't know what's good for him. We must teach him a lesson in the finals. Tyrannical Dragon City is not a place where just any dragon can come. A holy dragon showed a disdainful look. This martial arts tournament is of great importance. Maybe the Dragon God Shrine will send a dragon down for inspection. If we can get a good result in the martial arts tournament, maybe the Dragon God Shrine will take a fancy to us. So we can't let this Master Potato continue to be arrogant. Otherwise we won't have a chance. That's right. This Master Potato is indeed powerful. If we fight one-on-one, we may not be his match. Only if we join forces will we have a chance. The finals will be a melee. Only the one who survives will be the champion. That Master Potato is powerful, but 2 fists can't fight against 4 hands. I'm afraid he will be the first to be eliminated. Of course, we have to eliminate him first. Every year, the most popular holy dragon is the first to be eliminated. Who told them to be arrogant and don't know the principle of pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Indeed, only by knowing how to hide and hide can we have a chance to win. Some old foxes have known this for a long time. Even if they can pass the group stage with a complete victory record, they didn't do it. Instead, they deliberately lost a few games to let other dragons think that they are very weak. Damn, all the dragons are so treacherous. In short, kill this Master Potato first. Who told him to be arrogant and not know the rules? Many holy dragons were talking about it. They had secretly joined forces to form an offensive and defensive alliance in the tournament. First, they would eliminate those relatively powerful holy dragons, and then they would decide the winner among themselves. In this way, no matter who won the championship, they would be a part of it. Basically, the title of the champion of every martial arts tournament was collected by them in this way. And this Master Potato actually wanted to suddenly rise and take the title of champion from them. It was simply a fool's dream. Chapter 2438. The next day. Tyrannical City, the final venue. All the holy dragons who qualified for the competition were sent to a virtual island. This island was the venue where the winner would be decided. Whoever survived to the end would be the champion. Moreover, the whole battle scene would be broadcasted live for all the dragons to see. Whoosh! Xiaoping's figure flashed and immediately appeared in the center of the island. It seemed that in order to prevent dragons from hiding, every dragon could detect the enemy's position, so there was nowhere to hide. He had just appeared on the island of the final venue. He squinted his eyes because he saw countless light spots surrounding him at an extremely fast speed. It seemed that at this moment, he had become the target of all the holy dragons. There he is, Master Potato. He is right there in the center of the island. Go, hurry over there and eliminate this kid first. Don't let him continue to mess around. That's right. Eliminate the strongest first, and then we will slowly determine the winner and loser. Many holy dragons almost had the same idea. Recently, Master Potato had been in the limelight too much. Every dragon felt like they were under great threat. If they did not get rid of Master Potato first, they would have no chance to win the championship. They also sneered again and again. No matter how powerful Master Potato was, two fists could not defeat four hands. Under the siege of a group of dragons, no matter what realm he was at, he would die. Through the live broadcast, the audience immediately knew the movements of the other holy dragons. Oh no, I'm afraid that Master Potato will be besieged. This is inevitable. Who let him be the first bird to stand out and make a complete victory record? It's really frightening. Yeah, if it were me, I'm afraid I would get rid of this kid first. Otherwise, how can I survive in the future? Not many dragons can be his opponent in a one-on-one fight, so he will definitely be besieged this time. That's the reason why the wind will destroy the outstanding trees. Many dragons suddenly understood the thoughts of the other holy dragons. Obviously, they all regarded Master Potato as the biggest obstacle to winning the championship. Everyone wanted to get rid of this kid first. You guys are quite bold to want to besiege me, but I can also take this opportunity to make my name known in Tyrannical City, stepping on the corpses of these holy dragons. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. Since this group of holy dragons wanted to surround and attack him, he naturally would not sit still and wait for death. He chose to attack directly and kill a group of them first to intimidate the rest of the dragons. After all, they had just arrived at the virtual island. All the holy dragons were randomly distributed to different parts of the island. It was impossible for all of them to gather at once. He could take advantage of this time to kill a group of holy dragons and weaken the power of this group of holy dragons. Then the next battle would be very easy to fight. Infernal Golden Crow Wings. In the blink of an eye, he activated the divine ability within his body, and a pair of dark golden wings grew out of his back. Dense infernal golden crow runes appeared on the wings. All of a sudden, his speed increased by dozens of times. It was as if he had turned into a ferocious bird. He could control the airflow at will and soar freely in the forest. Whoosh! Xiaoping's figure flashed and immediately found a few holy dragons hiding nearby. They were sneakily trying to ambush and assassinate Xiaoping in this place, but he found them immediately. This was because his golden infernal crow's eyes could see through all illusions. No matter how well hidden the group of holy dragons were, it was useless. Moreover, he could also see through their concealment. Damn it, Master Mateto is here. The few holy dragons were shocked. They did not expect Master Mateto to be so arrogant. He clearly knew that so many dragons were planning to besiege him, but he still had the guts to take the initiative to attack. Kill! Xiaoping clenched his fist and punched. The speed of this punch was too fast. With the help of the infernal golden crow's wings, it was as fast as lightning. It was impossible to catch. Bang! 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 Before the three holy dragons could react, their chests were instantly pierced by the fist. Their whole bodies were immediately shattered. They could not even let out a scream. Oh my God! Many spectators could not help but scream when they saw this scene. It had only been a few minutes since the start, and 3 holy dragons were eliminated in an instant. It should be known that these holy dragons were experts who had experienced hundreds of battles. After all, they could fight their way out of the group stage. They had experienced countless battles. How could they be weak? But in the face of Master Mateto, these holy dragons had no power to fight back, and were instantly blown up. From this, it could be seen how tyrannical Xiaoping was at this moment. Well, 3 on the left, 3 on the right, 4 on the top, and 3 hidden under the ground. Xiaoping closed his eyes and operated the bloodline divine ability demon heart seal in his body. With his body as the center, thousands of kilometers were covered by the demon heart seal. Within this range, the emotions of all creatures were under his control. Their emotions, their excitement, their ruthlessness, and their cunning were all within his perception range. No dragon could escape from this power that came from the soul. Even their thoughts and intentions of attack could be clearly sensed. Master Mateto, go to hell. This time, the championship belongs to me. Don't give him any chance to fight back. Kill him instantly, even if you have to pay the price of serious injuries. This monster is a great enemy. We can't let him continue to live. In an instant, more than a dozen holy dragons hidden around attacked at the same time from all directions. It was almost a thunderous strike, containing a terrible murderous aura. But it was useless to do so. Their attack angle and behavior had already been clearly perceived by Xiaoping. He could even know what they wanted to do in the next few seconds. Whoosh! Whoosh! Xiaoping's figure flashed, and he used the infernal golden crow wings. Because his speed was too fast, he actually left a series of afterimages in the air. Even the retinas of the dragon race could not capture them. He turned his palm into a claw and swept it out, using the bloodline divine ability infernal golden crow claw. Suddenly, a dark golden claw appeared on his body, exuding a terrible, sharp, and tyrannical aura. It was like the claw of a divine beast, able to capture giant dragons as food. In a flash, Xiaoping's figure crossed several kilometers from north to south. All the holy dragons who tried to attack were stunned. Bang! 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 At this moment, the holy dragons were immediately hit by the dark golden claw, and their entire heads were crushed. The terrible sharp power instantly penetrated every corner of their bodies. When his movement stopped, these holy dragons suddenly realized that they seemed to be dead. One by one, their corpses instantly shattered in the air, turning into countless pieces. With just one blow, more than a dozen holy dragons were all killed and eliminated. They were instantly expelled from the virtual network. None of them could escape from Xiaoping's hands. 2K Reading Network. Chapter 2439. Oh my God, this Master Mateto is really too strong. Some audience dragons couldn't help but exclaim when they saw the live broadcast. They are obviously using the same physical qualities. But why is the difference in combat power so huge? It's really unreasonable. It's really incredible. More than a dozen holy dragons besieged him. No matter how I look at it, Master Mateto is dead. I didn't expect him to be able to counterattack. And it's even an instant kill. Monster, this is a real monster. What is his true body? Is it a special dragon, or an ancient celestial dragon? I can't figure out what his true body is at all. To be able to temper his martial arts to this point, he has definitely reached the peak of perfection. It can be said that he has reached the limit of the laws of the universe. It's incredible. Many audience dragons exclaimed. They had never seen such a powerful giant dragon being besieged by so many holy dragons. No matter how they looked at it, it was a dead end. But even so, more than a dozen holy dragons were killed by Master Mateto, which was enough to prove how powerful Master Mateto was. On the battlefield, many holy dragons immediately received the news. This Master Mateto is too arrogant. He knows that he is besieged by us, but he didn't run away. He actually dared to counterattack and take the initiative to attack. Does he look down on us? Does he think that we are a mob that can't withstand a single blow? Some holy dragons were fuming with anger. Originally, I didn't want to join forces with other holy dragons, but this Master Mateto is too overbearing. Now I have no choice but to join forces. Let's get rid of this thorn first, and then continue the competition. Immediately join forces to kill him. We can't let him take the lead. He also had superb dynamic vision holy dragons that allowed him to capture the movements of the holy dragons. And their eyes were almost spewing fire. The speed of his golden crow wings was unparalleled. Action was undoubtedly a provocation, and a slap even in their faces. Holy dragons joined forces. If they really couldn't kill this kid, what could they do to him? Then it would be a lifetime of shame for a day and never be erased. Xiaoping fought with 107 holy dragons. Whoosh! One against a group. As soon as his voice fell, he almost destroyed the virtual island. Dragons quickly gathered together and attacked Xiaoping. However, in addition, with his various holy dragons also came from all over the island to participate these in this siege. Were helpless against him. They had a tacit understanding. They were all killed on the spot and gave by him, fighting each other to deal with Master Mateto. The last holy dragon was chased to the edge of the island. Xiaoping did not escape. Still caught up with it. And mercilessly stayed where he was and waited for the group of holy dragons to attack him. He had already killed the other 107 holy dragons. He had the devil heart seal. Basically, a bloodline ability that allowed him to sense the emotions of his enemies. There were no exceptions. Understand their movements. There was no doubt predict their attacks and understand had also won the championship of the Tyrannical Dragon City Golden Crows tournament without any controversy. He could see through the flaws of his enemies' moves. This Master Mateto is so strong that it makes people's hair stand on end. Some dragons were shocked and admired him from the bottom of their hearts. If it was the previous champions, they would basically win by hiding until the end. How could it be like this Master Mateto? He actually smashed the other 107 dragons by himself. He is incomparably violent. Some dragons sighed again and again. His strength exertion skills are really terrifying. He can burst out 108 times the strength of his body. Who can resist him? One punch, and the other holy dragons will be smashed in an instant. Some dragons admired Master Mateto's strength. No. What is the strength exertion skills? What is terrifying is his speed. He simply comes and goes like the wind. He blends into the space. If he wants to fight, he can fight. If he wants to escape, he can escape. Just now, dozens of dragons besieged him, but he escaped. Then, after separating, he came back to fight back. There was no other way. This is the importance of speed. In the world of martial arts, only speed is unbeatable. Some dragons shook their heads and felt that speed was the most important. Bullshit. Strength and speed are secondary. The most important thing is the battle consciousness. You didn't see Master Mateto being besieged by dozens of holy dragons. He simply passed through thousands of flowers, without leaving a single leaf behind. All the attacks passed by him. It was as if he already knew where the enemy's attack would come from. It was as if he could predict the future. Even the legendary Dragon of Fate, that only appears once in countless eras, is only SOSO. Some dragons felt that Master Mateto's strongest was still his battle consciousness. He could predict the enemy's movements. Suddenly, a group of dragons quarreled. They all thought that each of them was right. Okay. What's the use of saying so much? Only when the three are combined is he the strongest. Some dragons stopped the group of dragons from continuing to quarrel. It's true. It's good enough for an ordinary dragon to have one advantage. But this Master Mateto is simply omnipotent. Obviously, they have the same physical qualities. Why can this Master Potato be strong to this extent, far surpassing other holy dragons? It's simply incredible. Is this still in line with common sense? I don't know. I can only say that this is Master Potato's talent. This is the undisputed first place. If this Master Potato is not the champion, then no one is. Even in the past, there have been countless champions. This Master Potato is enough to be ranked in the top 10. Isn't it? I don't know what kind of dragon he is in reality. What kind of strength does he have? Many spectators talked about it. They were completely convinced by Master Potato's combat power. None of them were dissatisfied. Those defeated holy dragons also had nothing to say. They were the most aware of the horror of fighting with Master Potato. He simply had an overwhelming advantage. Everyone was clearly on the same level. But they didn't expect to get such a result. Especially those holy dragons who had already united in advance. They were even more aggrieved. They felt like clowns, being humiliated by Master Potato in front of the other dragons. They were simply resentful of this Master Potato. This bastard had brought them too much shame. Now when they walked out on the street, they were still being talked about by other dragons. Isn't this the dragon that was blown up by Master Potato with one punch? One could imagine their resentment at the moment. It was simply indescribable. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.